ground, don't disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started, it's the hardest. Talk around, don't disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing can knock it. Let's get it started. Yeah,
get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle, nobody settling or calling it quits. You're here for the grit, betcha this stuff is amazing. You're stumbling? Welcome to the bump in the apron. Step into it, the hardest part of the ring. Here to bring fun, yeah, in this art he is king. It's the best thing, making sure you don't tap out. Don't go soft with the hardest podcast out. And it's not just another one, it's clear. Off the rest, in this content, none contest. Take the nonsense off the steps. You know it's nothing but pure gems when it's coming off the chest. Get it? Now it's time to sit and relax. Get your mind blown away, ain't no skipping this track. Have you paying more attention, no listening gap. Get everything I ever wanted, no giving it back. Yeah.
Ooh, here we go again. Right now, let's go. Me and you, toe to toe. So we can rock, we can roll. Fucking Limp Bizkit, man. Relentless on this show. Well, I love me some Limp Bizkit. First of all, hi, welcome to the Apron Bump Podcast. I'm your host, the hardest part of the ring. How we doing? But yeah, fuck Limp Bizkit, as we were saying. No, actually, I do like Limp Bizkit, actually. They're a, I wouldn't even say a guilty pleasure, because I'm not guilty about liking them. But good googly moogly on this show, WrestleMania 19. Look, if I had like a one of the old pie graph gimmicks for this show, right? As far as like what occurred throughout this 3 hours and 45 minutes of programming, if I had a pie chart, it'd be like, I don't know, 45% Limp Bizkit. It'd be like 30% Miller Lite girls shaking their stupid tits. It'd be 15% Triple H crawling over to Booker T to make the pin, and then the rest is just whatever else happened. But that's basically what we're about to get into today with WrestleMania 19. You know this show, you love this show. If you don't know this show, you are about to learn today about some WrestleMania 19 from 2003. One of the most, I'll say this, one of the most notable WrestleManias of all time. You could say for good reasons or for bad reasons, but I will say this. This was not just another WrestleMania. There was a lot of stuff happening on this show. Like I said, for positive reasons, for negative reasons. But overall, I mean, look, before I turned the show on, in my head, WrestleMania 19 was like easy top 3 WrestleMania. Easy top 3. After watching it and after talking about it, I don't think it's an easy. I would say maybe top 5. Probably, perhaps. You know, depending on the day that you ask me. I mean, you definitely have 17 as number 1 for me, right? This is all personal. You definitely have 17 number 1. I think 39 was fantastic. Might be a bit biased since I was there, but I think you probably agree, you know, watch it at home. Overall, very fantastic show. I would even say 38 is definitely top 5. 30's up there. 31 is really good. It's fucking, there's a lot of good WrestleManias, but WrestleMania 19, I would say is a top 5, but it's not without its speed bumps. Let's say that, but also a lot of really great stuff on this show. We talk a good amount about this show, so I'm going to keep this intro short and sweet. But we're in Seattle. We got Kurt and Brock up top in the main event. We got Triple H versus Booker T for the World Heavyweight title. We got Vince McMahon versus Hulk Hogan. 20 years in the making. We got the Cruiserweight title. We got the Women's title. We got the Tag Team titles. We got pillow fights. We got A-Train. Those aren't related, by the way. A-Train is not in the pillow fight, although he might have. He probably should have been. Well, now I'm all boned up just thinking about it, so we might as well get to the show while I take care of that. But first, let me give a shout out to my guests, Kyle and RN from the Smacked Raw podcast, returning to the show. I've not had both guys on together on the show. I've had them each individually a few times, but brought both boys on to have a good old time talking about a WrestleMania, and we have a very fun time talking about this show. I mean, I'll just say this: RN goes on a rant at some point about Booker T and in the Triple H match. I won't spoil what it is, but it made me almost choke on the water that I was drinking at the moment. So it was a lot of hilarious stuff all throughout the show from both guys. A lot of good insight. And if you want more of that from these guys, go check out the Smacked Raw podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as live on Twitch. Check them out on YouTube, on X, on Omegle, Instagram, MySpace, all that stuff. All their info in the description below. Really good podcast. They do their weekly rewinds of the wrestling industry every week, and they have a good old time with it, which is sometimes what a lot of people forget is that wrestling is fun. But these guys make it fun. They have a really fun podcast. So go check it out. And with that, I think, hey, follow me, I guess, while you're at it, at Apron Bump on all the social medias, if you're not already. If you're watching on YouTube, by the way, if you're unfamiliar, there is a video version of this podcast on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe to me, poke me in the belly button until I giggle like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and do all those things in that order. With that, I think we should just dive right into this bad boy. We got a lot of Limp Bizkit to talk about. We got a lot of Fred Durst to discuss. So let's get right into it, baby. WrestleMania 19 with myself and Kyle and RN from the Smacked Raw podcast. I hope you're feeling better, though.
Oh, I am. Yeah, man. It was just got a really pussy of a stomach. I ate some hot food, and it just wasn't working that night.
Oh, do you not like hot food?
Oh, I love hot food. I think the years of drinking and like smoking has killed my taste buds. So like I can only eat like the hottest of shit, like to get good flavor. It's just my theory, because I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, you can find flavor in things that aren't hot, or
Yeah, no, I know, but it doesn't interest me more often than not. So
how's your asshole doing?
Right, it's good. It's good. It's got a tolerance by this point.
I'm about to say, it's got to be gaping at this point. At least a little chiseled around the end, or charred. Look, I'm not here to judge you. You do what you want to do, man.
Oh, gotten caught off guard a couple times though. I'm like, what the fuck did I eat?
No, I feel that.
Oh yeah.
What we got there? You gonna share with the class?
Oh shit. V8s, man. That is my thing now. So I got V8 spicy hot right here.
And of course it is.
Yeah. It's on brand. And then V8 energies. I have no idea if it's healthy, but
that's why you just gotta double fist them and just
Oh no, man. The spicy hot's
gone. Them both in your
spicy hot's gone, man. Yeah.
I see.
So no. Turning into my dad. Yeah, just as more
we all
and more
do, don't
time
we?
goes on, man.
Unfortunately, we all do.
I thought it was the most disgusting drink when I was a kid. The smell of it, everything turned me off, man. And now I love the shit. Like I fucking crave V8 all the time.
Isn't it like tomato? It's like a tomato drink, right? Or is it just like one flavor?
That spicy hot is like tomato soup with like celery salt is what it tastes like. Yeah. And,
sounds appetizing.
Can't get enough of it.
Well, speaking of destroying assholes, we got WrestleMania 19 to talk about today, boys. So you guys were able to catch the show today or whenever you watched it?
Yeah, man. I watched it all.
Same. I watched it all this afternoon.
Well, we'll obviously get into all the individual stuff, but just overall thoughts on the show after watching it back?
This was the show that WWE just proclaimed its love for Limp Bizkit. Yeah, like, thank you for that video package.
WWE Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, WWE's favorite band. That slipped by me in the couple times that I've watched it. But yeah, hearing that fact, and then the other big thing was like Matt Hardy of all people was really ahead of the game, predicting like the internet craze with that Mattitude, the Matt facts and stuff. That's well before any of us were like obsessed with the internet.
No,
and, Matt Hardy saw it coming, man.
As he does, always does. What about you, RN? What'd you think about it?
A lot of those pay-per-views do not age well. If I'm being 100% honest. Like, they were all right. And then the cat fight girls, like, I totally forgot about the diva, like, pillow fights and shit like that. I'm like, oh, my fucking God. What is this? They got more time than the actual women's match on the card.
Mm-hmm.
You know what got me about that was the way the crowd reacted. The crowd were hot for it, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, man. Like, I remember I remember it was the segment where they were in the back and they were doing that little skit. I think like whatever match they were looking forward to or whatever, but they were backstage, and then they started doing the joke like in the ring, in the bed, and I could hear the crowd fucking popping every time she said "in the bed." And not saying that there wouldn't be a portion of the crowd that would still pop, but you feel like you'd hear more groans.
Right.
No.
Well, for the
not at all.
promo, for sure they were
so?
hot.
You don't think so?
Man, no, man, it's still the same fucking weirdos fucking at those shows. It's just a different setup. Those fucking nerds would be creaming their jeans if they still did that shit, man.
The Miller Lite catfight girls?
Oh my God, they would be eating that shit up.
They are all fucking over the show, by the way.
Yeah,
That's why I said they got more time than the actual women's fucking title match in contenders.
They had the limo. They had the limo pull-up segment.
Yeah, they had like 4
You know
segments,
what I mean?
including the actual like in the bed thing. Literally,
But
like
the
4
segment
segments.
that usually unveils a top star arriving, like a Roman Reigns, a Vince McMahon, a huge personality arriving to the arena. They gave that segment, the limo pull-up, to was it Miller Lite? What was the beer? It was Miller Lite.
It was Miller Lite, yeah.
Yeah, the Miller Lite catfight girls.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
that's a segment right there.
It was a few
They
seconds.
literally have 4 segments,
And a match.
including the match. Yeah.
So this is 2003, right? And in 2003, I was 10 years old. So maybe I'm not the best one to ask about this.
Yeah.
Because you guys are a little bit older than me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was 19.
I was 15 going on 16.
Okay, so you guys are prime. Were the Miller Lite girls like a thing? Like, were they, when you saw them on this show at the time, were you like, oh, it's Tanya and Tits
No,
McGee,"
they
or
were
whatever
just
their
a
names were?
commercial. They
Yeah,
were
it was
just
like
a funny
Bud Light
commercial.
commercial.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember the commercial. I just don't remember them being like,
No,
I
but
don't know,
back then, like
figures.
those beer commercials and everything were like life. Like they were. They were
and
Yeah, 'cause that was like-
twins. I remember that
The
one.
was up. Remember like Budweiser with the was up. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, like
yeah,
some of the best.
That's where the
produced
Dudley Boys got
commercials.
that from. Was the fucking
Yeah,
Budweiser
yeah.
commercial.
yeah. At the time, like beer commercials, man. You know, because this is like I said, once again, Matt Hardy being ahead of the internet. This was before the internet having YouTube and stuff. So like, hot commercials were the equivalent of like what viral videos are now.
Right.
You know, that was it.
Yeah.
And the Catfight girls had that shit for like.
I think
a
they were
summer.
more like vines or memes. Actually, the
You
commercials.
get what I'm saying though.
Yeah,
like
sure,
that was part of our consumption. Nowadays, no one can
Yeah.
give a shit, dude. People don't even get like excited for Super Bowl commercials anymore. You know what I mean? But that used to be like the thing back then. It was a really funny, well put together commercial.
It is crazy. Like, just 20 years ago, how crazy people went for the concept of 2 girls having a pillow fight.
Right.
Whereas I could literally be sitting right here, click a tab, and in 5 seconds, watch 2 girls scissoring, mashing clits if I wanted to.
Right.
So that's how time.
But that's my
We
thing.
got-
That's why like it would still be the same. The people,
Right.
those crowds have not changed. First of all, they're just older now. And now their sons and people are sliding into some of their places, but they're still the same fucking horny, fucking weirdos. Trust me, I'm at these wrestling shows, bro.
Yeah,
It's-
was
it's
this
wouldn't
the
have changed.
precursor for hot lesbian action?
Well, so this is
Like,
after hot lesbian action.
Okay, so this is after. Okay,
This is
I was
pretty
wondering
soon
where
after.
this fell. Yeah.
This is an era of lots of lesbian action, just all over the place.
Yeah, so it was riding that wave. We were still riding that wave.
Look, love a good les. But speaking of that, we got some biscuits here, Limp Biscuits. So
Yep.
you turn the show on, you hear Limp Bizkit, and then it cuts to the introduction of the show. We're in Safeco Field. The stage, the setup, the huge ramp that did like the curve action, the open air stadium. I personally, I love the vibe of this show, the aesthetic, just the overall kind of feel of it. What do you guys think of just like the overall, like, I guess, vibe of the show?
It was the last hurrah for the Attitude Era. We didn't know it watching it,
Yeah,
but this was,
yeah.
I think this was about I think this was like the last like what really felt like Attitude, and then you felt obviously it didn't happen overnight, but like it would never hit those heights again. I think so, at least personally speaking. I don't know.
Yeah, this was, to me, it was like that. You could feel it was like a last thing, because this is kind of like when everybody aged out. All the people that enjoyed, like, were actually of age to enjoy the Attitude Era. This is kind of where everyone ages out of that. And you could kind of feel like it was like not the same. I stayed on the boat, but everybody else jumped off.
Yeah, no. Yeah, me same here. I think it's very telling how this show closes with Kurt versus Brock, and Rock and Stone Cold is before that. It's like we're leaving the past behind, and then we're like moving on to the new crop of guys. I mean, I could be looking too far into it, but that's kind of how, because a lot of people say that Rock and Austin should have main evented, but I think how they played it was pretty much the right call.
Well, you got to think this is like the real beginning of the SmackDown 6, where that kind of took off. Like, this was kind of like the jumping part for that.
Well, you saw that with like the Jericho and Michaels, and then the what was it? The tag match. What was the? I've already forgotten the card. Team. Yeah. The world's greatest tag team. Thank you. Like we saw Los Guerreros was in there, Benoit was in there, and those were definitely some of the funner matches.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so like before I watched the show back, like WrestleMania 19 in my head was like a top 3 WrestleMania. After, it's a good show. I don't know if I'd put it top 3 though. I mean, there's like a couple matches on here that are great, but there's also a lot of filler on this show, and a lot of stuff just seems very rushed. And we'll get into it, obviously. But
I mean, and that's what I said. Like, we prop these fucking things and put these pussies on a pedestal. But if you really go back and watch it, especially compared to some of the shit we've got in the last like 5 to 7 years, like it didn't age well. Like it was.
Yeah.
A lot of cringeworthy stuff and a lot of, like you said, like fluff to it.
I think pro wrestling, no matter what age you're in of it, like once you get far enough down the road, it's going to be cringy. Just because of like how heavily it relies on pop culture and what's popular at the time. Not saying that everybody falls into like just like what's current as like their personality. I think a lot of it just ages out and is cringy.
Yeah, but this type of creepy, cringy shit is different than like the stuff we get now. Like,
well, that's just because our culture is like way more sanitized.
A lot of this stuff is like borderline.
We claim we're sanitized. Yeah,
right. A lot of this is borderline sexual harassment, sexual assault, fucking homophobia. Yeah. Like it was.
Shit was cool, man.
It was about as fucking offensive for a lot of.
Homophobia was awesome.
It was fucking dope, man. What are you, gay?
Exactly. You know how long it took me to stop saying that about shit, man.
Oh man.
And the F word, like it took me probably 3 years to stop to like completely erase that from my.
For whatever reason, that F word only comes out in the car for me. I don't know what it is. If road rage, for whatever reason, it's at the tip of my tongue. Otherwise, I'm pretty good at leaving it alone. But
anytime I get in an argument with my brother, it comes out. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I never really attacked like people like that. I usually just would like call people like, I think my nasty word was like retard. Like you retarded. That's
a good one.
Like that was I think that was like my main like insulting slur.
You know what I substituted that for? Thank you, SpongeBob. Tartar sauce.
You call people tartar sauce?
Yes. Tartar sauce.
That's actually pretty funny.
You remember when Carlos Mencia's Carlos Mencia was like the top comic, and his catchphrase was fucking essentially mocking retards, man.
Right. You want to talk about stuff that doesn't age well? Carlos
Mencia. Carlos Mencia did not age well at all.
Well, I'll tell you what aged great. In fact, was like you said, Kyle, was a bit ahead of its time. Was Matt Hardy?
Yeah,
version 1 opening up here with the cruiserweight title match. So Matt Hardy, cruiserweight champion, defending against Rey Mysterio, member of the SmackDown 6. So opening match here, cruiserweight, nothing crazy. Like, I don't know. I remember this match being better. It was fine for what it was. It was a lot of Matt and his shenanigans. It was a lot of Shannon Moore ringside. The MFer, of course, getting involved. But yeah, V1 Matt Hardy. Is this? I feel like this is probably Matt Hardy's peak as a performer overall.
I don't know if you guys would agree. No, I hated it when it was happening because I was of that age, like 13 through 15, where the Hardy Boys were like the coolest thing in the world. So when Matt Hardy turned heel, that one bugged me because I wanted to think he was cool, and I thought it was really silly. Like I didn't like it. But now looking back, he's one of the people. Like that's one of the characters that I do enjoy when I go back, because you see, I don't know what it is. I like it. I see him trying. Like you can see effort.
Effort is the key word. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see effort into trying to create something, and like now, like a part of me appreciates that going back and watching stuff.
Yeah, same, like you said, the same thing. Because for me, it was just him trying to get out of Jeff's fucking shadow. Like, because everyone pinpointed him as the Jannetty from the beginning, and really, to me, is better, and when history rewrites itself, he'll be looked at as the better Hardy Boy. If I'm being 100% honest,
That's a hot take.
Definitely debatable. I mean, from a character standpoint, I think it's easy that Matt Hardy
from
is.
character standpoint, longevity, actual impact when he's there and what he does. Like, people are still doing fucking delete, and he hasn't done that character in fucking 10 years almost. Like, the only thing we remember about Jeff Hardy is the high spots and the fact that he keeps getting fucking arrested for doing pills. Like, that's all you got. Like,
well, hey,
and
Matt
trust me,
Hardy's
this is
no
coming
saint
from
either.
Well, no, he's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, he hasn't done it as many times as Jeff Hardy. Trust me, I get hate from all black people on Black Wrestling Twitter all the time because how much I hate Jeff Hardy. So it's like, I don't understand it. Like how, like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like I said, to me, it's gonna be Matt when it's all said and done. People are gonna finally give him his fucking flowers and recognize him. He's definitely not the Jannetty out of that tag team.
No, yeah, in that pair, there's no Jannetty, as far as I'm concerned, for sure.
Do you think Matt, either Matt or Jeff? Because I mean, it's an obvious statement. The moment their contracts are up with AEW, they're going to be inducted into WWE's Hall of Fame. WWE is going to capitalize on that the moment they can get them on their TV. Do you think either of them will ever get a singles induction into the WWE Hall of Fame?
If they go in as a tag team, I couldn't see them doing a separate singles. Yeah, I feel like
neither one
they
of
would
them
kind
had
of.
any. Yeah, they didn't have anything good as far as singles go in WWE.
Yeah, I mean, well, Jeff was world champ.
He wasn't.
Yeah,
he was.
What, for like 2 seconds?
He was world champ.
He's a 3-time world champ.
Yeah,
he wasn't champ for that long, really, but
that's what I'm saying. Like, he was.
Wait, who was technically also what's his name was Leonardo DiCaprio lookalike? Fuck, what was that dude's name? It's one of the oddest. He's cruiserweight. Brian Kendricks. You know, technically Brian Kendricks is world champ too for like 3 seconds, like 8 seconds maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry
debatable.
guys.
No, he was. Spanky's around at this point too. He's just showed up on SmackDown. But yeah, as far as the Hall of Fame, I could see them like they would go in as a tag team and they would touch on like their singles achievements as they got inducted, and they would just both be in. You know, I don't think.
Yeah,
to me, I just think both of them had their biggest success outside of WWE.
Kind of like Kurt Angle in TNA. Like he was in TNA longer than he was in WWE.
Twice as long as he was in WWE.
Yeah.
Well, we got Matt here, version 1. Spitting his Matt. What were the Matt facts? I forgot to note them. There was one that was like WrestleMania, like wasn't as great without him or something, and then there was another one. I forgot to note.
Write it down.
Matt often wonders how WrestleMania was had without him or some shit like that.
That's what it was. Yeah. So good. So stupid. It was so good. And then Rey Mysterio. So in my head, Rey Mysterio in this match was the Flash, but he was not the Flash. Wasn't he like Ant-Man or something?
I tried to think because it looked like it was a purple suit, so like I wasn't really sure either.
Yeah, it was like maroon. It was like burgundy. I'm not a big Marvel guy, so I don't know if you guys were.
I am. Like I said, I couldn't really figure it out either. If I'm being 100% honest.
He looked like Ant-Man. It could have been like a Daredevil type of thing, maybe, perhaps.
Right. Which that kind of makes sense because I think that's like around the time Affleck's Daredevil came out, so it could have been that.
So that would make sense.
Yeah, that's Daredevil.
Daredevil. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. That's Daredevil.
Yeah, always busting out the superheroes for the attire. Much appreciated. Quick start to this match. A lot of this match is Shannon Moore getting involved. He was tripping up Ray, choking Ray on the ropes. Ray will hit a move, and then Shannon will put Matt's foot on the ropes. Towards the end, Matt hits a twist of fate for a 2 count. and then Ray is able to hit the 619, or he goes for the 619, but Matt gets out of the way. And then ultimately Ray gets Matt in a victory roll position, but Matt counters and Matt rolls him up with the ropes and gets the win. So, like I said, nothing crazy. No match of the year potentials here, but I thought it was a solid opener for what it was. What do you guys think about it?
Yeah, I was surprised that he lost. That threw me off. I didn't remember him losing that. So
they won. I mean, they were invested in getting Matt Hardy as character at the time. I liked the match. The couple things that I jotted down for it was, it's going back and seeing Ray wrestle, like watching the events, like knowing, like watching like Raw right now or whatever he's on and seeing him on it. You're like, oh man, it's crazy that he can still go. And then you actually watch something from 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and you see all the other wrestlers that have aged, come and gone, and you see Ray, and it's like a spitting image.
I think he's even better today than he was here.
Yeah,
he's more refined. Yeah. And it's cool, man. Like that's such a trip, and like there's more appreciation. I think I have watching the old stuff. And then having like the new stuff in memory. I don't know.
And he's doing just as much high flying shit now as maybe even more than he was back then as far as like his WWE run
Those
goes.
stem cells, brother. Yeah, they're magic.
That and then also what is it called? Live for the Moment, right? Matt's entrance song is also just a banger too, by the way.
How's that go?
His song?
Yeah.
You'll have to YouTube it. I ain't gonna sing it, bro.
I
can slap a tornado one. It's the one he talks about slapping a tornado.
Right.
And you're like, yeah, dude, you could totally do that. That's fuck yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Awesome. That's fucking dope.
I'm with
dude.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, solid little match there. And then we got our first appearance from the Miller Lite girls showing up in the limo. Yeah, like I said, they're just all over the show. I can't imagine anybody was like, I guess maybe some people were pumped to see them. I don't know how recognizable they were.
Like Kyle said, the crowd popped every time.
Yeah, they really did. They saw him, man. The crowd was horny. Like, dude, we're gonna see tits at Wrestlemania. Yes. Yo, we might actually see titties at Mania. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming that's it. I forgot all about them too. So it was like a very deflating, like dead balloon. When I see like they step out the car and I was like, cool, they're an entourage. Like, who's the person riding with the hot chicks? And then the camera starts following the hot chicks, and I was like, oh, what the fuck is this?
Oh, it's just the groupies.
It's just the groupies. And then I heard, yeah.
Man, you want to talk about deflating? I mean, you're all turgid and rock hard seeing these big titted gals hop out of this limo, and then what do you see? The Big Show up next, teaming with A-Train in a handicap match.
Don't breeze over the fact that we got the segment of them walking out of Nathan Jones' shower.
Oh, we're gonna talk.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about Nathan Jones. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. The bugger. What was his nickname? The something from Buggo Road. The Colossus from Buggo Road. Nathan Jones here.
Oh shit! I didn't even know that.
He's not in this match actually. Well, it was supposed to be a tag match. It was supposed to be A-Train and Big Show versus Nathan Jones and The Undertaker. But apparently, Nathan Jones was too inept at wrestling to just stand on the apron and be a tag team partner. So they wrote him out of this match. I don't know what the exact story. I don't know if you guys do.
It was like somebody made a bet or some shit. Yeah, it was like somebody made a bet or some shit, and it pissed Big Show off. So Big Show and them took him out in the locker room. It was some convoluted like.
Not in the shower. They found him naked. They found him naked in the shower. Like Big Show and A-Train beat this dude in the shower. I thought it was. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I was like when I saw A-Train and Big Show walking out of the shower before I even saw Nathan Jones, I was like, man, this has like a rapey feel to it. Like I'm not gonna lie. And then it pans to like a naked Nathan Jones. I mean, he's got a towel placed over his hips, but yeah, just laid out. And I was like, oh, that's just weird.
Well, at least they're respectable enough to keep the towel on them. You know,
yeah. I bet you Vince pitched it though. We can go ass, right? We can go ass.
God damn, Nathan.
We can do ass. And Nathan's like, listen, man, I still want to do movies. All right, so no.
Butt doubles are a thing, right? That's a market you can tap into.
How you gonna find a 7-foot butt double though? All right.
No, he is the double. I'm saying he could go. But who would the 7-foot star be? I don't know. Australia has other tall men, probably. I'm sure.
I don't remember any movies he was in besides Brad Pitt stabbing him in the neck and Troy.
The Condemned. Have you ever seen The Condemned with Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Stone Cold. I watched it once. It wasn't terrible.
I mean, I've seen it, but I can't remember. I think I watched it once.
By far the best WWE produced movie that they ever made.
Really?
Which is not saying a lot, but it's still a fact.
It's like it knows it's a campy B movie, but it's all right. It's not bad. It's not bad. It knows what it is.
Yeah. Well, so does The Undertaker. He knows what Nathan Jones is, and he's shit, I guess. So he's not in this match, but he's out here taking on A-Train and Big Show in a handicap match. Of course, WWE's favorite band, Limp Bizkit, is here. So how are you not gonna play a role in for The Undertaker? So man, the Limp Bizkit, man. They're kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, but seeing them out here performing, I mean, it is just everything.
It's the choreograph. the choreography is what throws me off.
All the leaders behind him.
Yeah, it's like, now granted, I never thought Fred Durst was like some type of like badass like street fighter or anything like that. But it's like, dude, you're doing new metal and you're doing choreographed dancing. I don't know. It was just weird. It's the precursor to what baby metal became ultimately though.
I think it's like
badass metal with K-pop.
It's like fucking them and Nickelback. People act like they were like the worst bands ever. Nobody listened to them, but them motherfuckers have all sold over 100 million records. So somebody's fucking lying. Somebody's got some Limp Bizkit CDs somewhere at their house somewhere hidden.
Now, Limp Bizkit's different than Nickelback. Limp Bizkit is primarily hated because of the type of fans it like attracted.
That's the same, but that's not. It doesn't matter to the reason. I'm just saying, like, people act like Limp Bizkit and Nickelback aren't things that were extremely fucking popular, and a bunch of people bought. Both of those bands have over 100 million sold. Someone is lying about how popular they were, or did you really like them or not? That's what I'm saying.
Limp Bizkit's on tour right now, I think.
Yeah.
Dude, if they come to my town, you bet your goddamn ass I'm seeing them.
I am like almost certain they're on tour right now, or they just wrapped a tour.
That wouldn't surprise me. I mean,
like
I said, somebody loves fucking Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, a ton of people do.
I mean, they're all under the butt rock umbrella, which is what I'm a big fan of. So,
well, my thing is, this is my favorite version of Undertaker, like by far. Like American badass racist Undertaker is. That's my favorite Undertaker.
Yes.
Like,
I love Thin Blue Line Undertaker. He's my favorite.
I love Punisher Skull Undertaker on the thing. Like, supposed to be a biker fucking gangster, but support the police still. Like, I love
fresh off the heels of kicking the shit out of Canyon. Oh,
right. You know,
love that.
I love it. Like, to me, this is the best Undertaker character he's ever done. Like the weirdo fucking dude, butt fucking corpses and shit and all that, and the fucking.
Well, I like a little bit of that as well, but yeah.
But the Druids and all that bullshit, like none of that ever got to me. But this, like, I can relate to racist bandana wearing biker guy. I can relate.
Can't
to
we
that
all?
Because where I'm from, so like I know that Undertaker. One of my neighbors is that Undertaker. Like that's why I love it. My favorite by far.
I think we all know that Undertaker.
So I have you on the record, RN, that's saying that racists are better than people who butt fuck corpses. That's a quote I got. All right. We'll let the sites run with that. So the match is what it is. I don't know. It didn't really feel like a WrestleMania match to me, other than the entrance and all the fanfare that came with it. Like once the bell rang, it was fine for what it was. But ultimately, like A-Train and Big Show, like both of these guys individually, I feel like should be guys that could be capable of having a one-on-one match with the Undertaker. And Big Show and Taker did at No Way Out. My thought here. No.
Didn't A-Train have a match with him?
Not on a pay-per-view, I don't believe, unless it was after this.
Because I know there's like there's a clip floating around of Undertaker on a talk show, talking about his upcoming match against his opponent, and his opponent's very hairy. And he was like, he's like, I gotta be careful not to get my fingers trapped in his hair. That was like his like relatable joke to try to make like everyday suburban people laugh. You know what I mean? And and he was talking about an upcoming match, I'm pretty sure against Albert, but it may have not been a Mania match. It
might be like Backlash. I could see it being a Backlash match. I don't really remember the card for the month after this, but
That's what I was saying about these WrestleManias and the Undertaker Street. Like, he's maybe got like 8 or 9 actual like main event banger fucking matches on that record. A lot of those matches is shit like this,
and they don't start until like 20 years into his career.
Right.
So, but it is what it. I don't know. I feel like A-Train and Undertaker would have been a better route to go. I don't know. Maybe they didn't have faith in A-Train to be a big enough star to carry that. But I feel like it would have been better than this. I don't know.
Well, yeah,
maybe like
did.
as a match, but I think like public interest, like people wouldn't have given it.
Yeah,
I remember watching back
so,
then.
Yeah.
A-Train was at his heights when he had Trish Stratus as a valet, like him and Tess.
TNA.
Like that, yeah, like they were in there, and they were called TNA.
Right. And not too long after this, he left and went to Japan, and actually was a big ass fucking star in Japan.
Yeah.
So I would argue that A-Train is his best gimmick, his best presentation. I thought he just had a great look, like the entrance, the music, the moveset.
He was like intimidating too. Like that was, I thought that character was legitimately intimidating back then.
And but he was always associated at this time with like big shows and Nathan Joneses and the Brock Lesnar. So he didn't look as intimidating as he could have.
Right.
I feel like it might have been a missed opportunity with A-Train a little bit because he was solid, man. He had a couple good matches like back in the Attitude Era and stuff.
I'm serious. Go back and look up some of his New Japan shit. Like he had some fucking bangers back then. Like, and because like you said, he looked different. So like the Japanese crowds fucking ate him up. A big fucking like nearly 7 foot tall, 400-pound bald headed white dude with piercings and hair all over him. Like he literally was a star in Japan. Like way bigger than he ever was here in the States.
For sure. So, really, my main takeaway with this match is I noticed Undertaker was using a lot of like jujitsu moves, a lot of arm bars, a lot, and this is kind of a thing he was trying to incorporate during this time period. I don't know. What did you guys think of him like locking in arm bars and like flipping over
fucking loved
into
it. Like I said,
Kimuras?
this is my favorite. This is my favorite version of Undertaker because it was real. You know what I'm saying? Like it was not so much dealing with the fucking like lights out and the like thunder striking a fucking arena that can't hit anybody or do anything. Like he was trying to fucking knock you out or tap you out. And that Hell's Gate fucking submission hold, that shit is fire. This is literally my favorite Undertaker, like hands down.
Do y'all know who he got the Hell's Gate from? Like who inspired him for that?
I don't.
So his name is Nick Diaz. Nate Diaz is fighting Jake Paul. It's his older brother. Yeah. Nick Diaz fought in Japan against Takanori Gomi, who was a killer at the time. And Nick Diaz caught him in that. It's called a Goga Plata. You take one of your legs, you wrap it around the guy's shoulder and wrap your shin under their neck, and you pull their head down and choke them out with their own shin. And Nick Diaz did that like high on his ass in Japan and pulled it off. And then afterwards, he cut one of his like most famous lines is like, "Don't be scared, homie," and he like launched his career. And that like skinny boy from California inspired the Undertaker.
That's great.
In one of his finishing moves. Yeah, Undertaker was a hardcore MMA fan before like it became cool to like UFC and shit like that, man.
Well, he switched to the MMA gloves too with this too. Like I said, like and he was at all the shows. Like anytime they had a pay-per-view, they cut to Undertaker somewhere in the fucking crowd, especially at this time. Like he was at everything. So like, no, I definitely could see that. Like I said, and he switched from the fucking leather rape gloves to the MMA fighting gloves.
Yeah, man.
Is that the technical term? Leather rape gloves?
Yeah, the glove don't fit, you must have quit. What are you talking about?
That's actually a really good point. I never really thought of it like that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I feel like the audience though isn't super educated on jiu-jitsu and MMA at this point. So it was hard because he kept trying to get like the Dragon Sleeper. He was trying to make his finisher, and at No Way Out, he beat Big Show with a triangle choke. But the crowd was like, "What? What happened there?" So I think it might have been a little bit too soon for him to incorporate that. But I do appreciate the attempt to kind of
also
broaden
too
his
like
horizons.
his look didn't match that sort of style, like that sort of like shoot. You know what I'm saying? Like Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn type of style. You had fucking leather pants on and a cutoff and a wallet chain. Like it didn't really match like what you would think about if you thought of like a giant fucking bar brawling fucking biker, like him in there trying to do technical submission and shit. So like
that's
before his time.
Yeah, that's why the Last Ride was like the most notable move that came from that character.
Right.
Because he wasn't doing, you're right. He had the Hell's Gate and all that other stuff, but you're right. Most of the fans didn't take to the jiu-jitsu stuff, but they see a guy get power bombed from like 9 feet in the air. Like that'll strike a memory for you.
Right.
Yeah, you can digest that pretty easily. You know what's going on.
Right.
But most of this match naturally is A-Train and Big Show using their numbers to beat up on Taker. But then ultimately Nathan Jones puts some pants on and runs out there and gives Big Show a spinning kick in the aisleway. And this allows Undertaker to hit the tombstone on A-Train in the ring for the win. So Big Take going 11-0 at WrestleMania. This is like the time period where it's like starting to become a thing. The streak is. I remember it being like a very tense, is he gonna be able to overcome the odds and continue his streak? Like, this is one of the first times I feel like that was really like a sticking point to the match.
Yeah.
Overall, it was. I thought the match was fine. What did you guys think about the match itself? I guess.
It didn't feel like a WrestleMania match, but I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much like a SmackDown main event or something.
Right.
Yes.
But he was already slated to be at Mania. It's almost like still like a blessing in disguise compared to the Nathan Jones. Like, because think about it, if Nathan Jones had been cleared to wrestle and they put him in the match, Undertaker's streak would have another asterisk to it. Because right now, the only real asterisk I think to his streak is like the Giant Gonzalez one, right?
Right.
But then you'd have to argue his streak would look pretty funky if there was a tag match in there as well.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So it's like a blessing in disguise that it actually went down the way it did.
Yeah. Well, we'll see Nathan at some point. I don't know. I think he goes like OVW for a little bit, then pops back up for a brief period, and then he goes off to Hollywood permanently. So, well, guess what, guys? We got some more Miller Lite girls backstage.
Segment number 2.
What was? Oh wait, hold on. I backed up in my notes. Did we get Miller Lite girls? No, we're not there yet. We're not at segment number 2 yet. We get a recap of the Heat the pre-show match was for the Raw World Tag Team titles. The champions were Sean Morley, Chief Morley, and Lance Storm defending against RVD and Kane, which is just a crazy cast of characters all around.
Right.
Morley and Storm retain as the Dudleys interfere, because at this point the Dudleys are like their faces, but their jobs rely on them helping Eric Bischoff, who Sean Morley is his chief of staff. Do you guys remember any of this dynamic from back in the day?
No.
This is kind of before the 3-minute warning shit, ain't it?
This is like during it.
Right, yeah. So basically, Eric Bischoff was just like paying people to do his bidding and like threatening their jobs if they didn't do what he asked them to do.
I got you.
Yeah. I totally even forgot this match was a thing. I don't know if it's like available anywhere to watch. Obviously, it wasn't not on the cock, but I can't say I was too disappointed.
Yeah, I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize I had missed anything. You just started talking about something. I was like, was that on the recording?
It was like 5 seconds. It was like a really
man, I
they showed
RVD
pinning fucking Lance Storm. That's pretty much all I remember.
I saw a clip of RVD really quick on the TV, and I was like, I just saw him literally last night on Dynamite. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, is still doing it, but.
You're probably just excited to see Stevie Richards be Victoria's Gimp. That's probably the thing, right? You're probably just revving up for that. Because Victoria's defending here her women's title in a triple threat against Jazz and Trish Stratus. This match was better than I expected, which is kind of the theme of this era. Mm-hmm. People talk about this era like the early 2000s. And granted, it doesn't hold a candle to today, of course, but I feel like if nothing else, like there's talent here. They always work hard. Maybe they don't always get the time they need or whatever. But I thought this match was pretty solid for what it was. What you guys think about it?
Victoria too, like during this time frame, she's probably like at her peak, and a lot of that is because all the titties and ass and titties and puppies and shit fucking overshadow. But they did have some women that could really go. Like a Victoria's another one whose career was better in other places than it was, even though I know she was a multiple-time champ here, but she definitely got more, and like we got more character work out of her from TNA and shit than she ever got here. But yeah, this match really this is probably up there with one of my best matches on the card. Like, it blew my mind how good this match was. And Jazz was a fucking beast, yo.
Dude, she was a monster.
Yeah.
Had such a presence to her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's just in the wrong era.
She was a woman and she was
sure.
black, so she was fucked from the beginning.
Get the hell out of here, right?
Yeah.
I'm with you.
No, it was good. I mean, what's neat is I feel like you see little hints, like because you always hear that like these are the wrestlers that paved the way, like Trish, Lita, Victoria, Molly Holly, and stuff like that. And it's kind of like what RN said is like, there was a lot of duds in Undertaker's streak. There was a ton of duds that those women's had that matches that never really grasped anybody, but you would always see like a little glimmer of a good match here and then and a little bit there. And it's cool when you pick up on, because you can see where modern day women wrestlers, like where their inspiration came from. You like, that's probably what you're thinking of whenever you go back and you think of like the women of this generation and stuff. So it's pretty neat. You did get to see it little bits. By the way, do you think Victoria deserves more praise than she gets?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I just said. Like, she
She
had a nice run in WWE, but I think she did more and we explored more of her character work in TNA. So like, I think she's definitely one of those pillars that never got her flowers for being as good as she was.
Because Victoria kind of started hot. Like, she had the unhinged character. Like, there was a lot of time and effort like presenting her in that way. And it felt like over time she kind of just evolved into just another chick on the roster, just another legend, the veteran, the gatekeeper, maybe.
Right.
I feel like not enough time was really given to her as like a legit top of that division type thing. But it's definitely the same for Jazz too. I don't even know how long Jazz was here. I know because she came up in 2001 and then got injured for a while, then came back like recently before this. And I don't remember a lot of her after this. So I don't know what the deal was with that, but she could have been something if they really put effort towards it.
It was very brief. It was very brief.
Well, again, at this time, she was a woman and she was black. She was fucked.
All right. Yeah, whatever. We got Trish Stratus here to talk about. We got some good white women to talk about.
Thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Trish. Yes, sir.
Crazy. She's still going at it, man. 20 years later. But otherwise, I mean, Jazz starts quick with a Pearl Harbor job in the beginning. You got lots of intensity during this match. Everybody's kind of getting their spots in. Jazz hits a pretty brutal looking glam slam onto Trish, I think it was.
That bitch was strong as fuck, man. She was tossing them around. Like, she was the smallest woman in this match, but she was still fucking, like, she felt like she was a 7-footer. Like, she was literally tossing them around.
She was jacked. Jazz. Victoria busts out a moonsault, so everybody's going all out for WrestleMania. Towards the end, Stevie Richards makes a run in with a steel chair. I don't know what he was planning on doing with that, but he swings the chair at Trish, I think it is. She gets out of the way. Stevie's chair hits the ropes, rebounds into his face, which is just hilarious every time I see it.
Right.
Trish hits the Stratisfaction onto Stevie. And then Victoria tries to capitalize on this by hitting the Widow's Peak on Trish, but Trish hits the chick kick on Victoria for the win. So Trish gets the win here. We got a happy ending. The top female of the company at this point by far. So, like I said, it was solid. Everybody got their shine in this match, and I thought the ending was pretty solid and entertaining. So I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on that one.
No, it was way better than I was expecting. Like you said, I had the diva shit in my head, but this was really a damn good match.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, like a slight glimpse into what the future was going towards, like a really distant future, but
right.
We got there eventually.
We did, thanks to Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Well, we got old Dwayne here next, cutting a promo. The Rock is here. He's obviously newly heel, Hollywood Rock.
Right.
And he's going off how the people have booed him. People are booing him. It's hurting his feelings. The people are saying that he's sold out. And he's like, yes, I have. I've sold out arenas. And what? Shut the fuck up, Dwayne. But I do like, so the match later, Rock versus Stone Cold. It's the whole premise of that is that Rock and Austin have had 2 previous WrestleMania matches, but Stone Cold has won both of them, and The Rock is pissed because he's never beaten Austin at WrestleMania. But I do like here how Rock, like, he's entertaining. He's doing all those Rock things, but he's really doing a good job at setting this match up as Act 3, because obviously it ties in with the Hollywood character, and that people only remember Act 3, which is kind of true in a lot of cases. So I thought he did a good job at establishing that, because even if he wins, it's still 2-1 Austin, but he's really building it up like this is the one that matters. So I did like that. What'd you guys think of seeing Hollywood Rock here for the first time tonight?
It was funny because I was watching it around my kids, and my son is still he's 7, and he still can't quite get the grasp of like actors. You know what I mean? So like, how does this man exist both in wrestling and in this movie? You know, and it's just hilarious to me when I see that. Like, when my kid had was that, but you know what? You said you had some truth, and The Rock had some truth, because when I'm surfing the internet and I'm watching like videos and people are ranking like matches and pay-per-views and stuff, of all the 3 Rock Austin WrestleMania encounters, you really only hear people talk about the third encounter. You know, and granted, it's, you know, a large portion of that too is it's also what's tied to that Stone Cold Vince McMahon alliance. But with that being said, the third match is the most memorable in my opinion. So, yeah, man. And it just happened to be for the man who was leaving wrestling.
I just can't wrap my head around how big Rock's really was. Like, they said he was like 275 pounds or some shit. Like, and he didn't look like it. He looked slim as hell.
Oh no, he was half the size that he is now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They had, I think when he came out, they said he was 275 or 260 or some shit like that. So that motherfucker got to be 320 now. Like, damn,
well, he's pretty tall too. Yeah, so.
And he's
like
legit
6'6".
6'5", 6'6". Yeah.
Yeah. So
20 years of steroids, bro. Like 20 years of
Kyle, it's a lot of cod, a lot of tilapia, and a lot of creatine. That's all it is.
Fucking tell me, show me where he gets his tilapia from. Okay, like let me get some of that tilapia. I'll be a tilapia eating motherfucker, man.
There might be some needles stuck in its asses, but speaking of needles, oh boy, we got a few of that in this next tag team title match. We got the tag team titles on the line. We got the champions, Team Angle, of course, the team of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin, versus the team of Chris Benoit and Rhino, versus Los Guerreros, of course, Eddie and Chavo. This is a pretty, it was a good match. I mean, it's 6 guys, and for the time they got, it's like, I feel like not every individual could have gotten a huge spotlight, but my note on this match, it felt very intense. Like, it felt very fast paced. It felt very like urgent a lot. So it was very entertaining. It felt like there was always action. Lots of cool hot tags towards the end. But overall, what do you guys think of this tag team title match?
It was good. It was great to see. Like, this is the first match I've watched of Chris Benoit since all that happened. Like, literally.
Really?
So, like,
holy shit.
And not like just because I just didn't. It's just like I kind of was protesting it, but then at the same time, like, by the time I like all that was done with, I just never have. But it was like I forgot how much I fucking loved him. Like, it felt weird as fuck. Like, I couldn't take my eyes off him. Like, I forgot how the intensity was definitely because of him. Like, he brought the fucking intensity to this fucking match, like, by far, hands down. And at this point, this is when I'm like really ramping up my wrestling love and like getting into the real shit, like shooting and shit and all that stuff. So like, Team Angle is by far, at this point in time, is my favorite thing in wrestling besides Triple H. Like, I thought they were the fucking shit. Like, Kurt coming with the hoodie on. You know what I'm saying? Them coming with the hoodies up and everything, looking like a real badass, like, MMA team coming back from training and shit and everything. Like, just everything they did was fucking amazing to me. Like, so, like, I was so hyped to see this match and, like, see them win, too. And I think that Charlie Haas's injuries probably cost them a lot of time. Like, that they could have been more and done more, but his injury history always kind of set them back as far as being, like, a tag team.
I think Kyle, when you speak to people around mine and RN's age, these are like, you'll find that like these are our favorite wrestlers.
Yes.
Mine too, for sure.
Yeah, man. There's because it's it's the generational thing. And then there's the affinity for the guys in the mid card that you knew just had like so much like special ability, and they weren't always the pushed guys that you were always going to see in the top of the card. So when these guys won titles, it felt huge. It was like kind of like the similar vein of like what Daniel Bryan was able to achieve in his run. And Aaron said it, man, and I've made no bones about it. There was like a solid 3 or 4 years Chris Benoit was hands down my favorite wrestler. Like, just if you asked me like who on the roster, and it was that the level of intensity, the realism to his character, that it factor where like he just always had your attention. And so seeing this match was just pure joy. That's what it is, man. There's so much tied into it outside of just the work these guys put in those couple minutes. Is like that's a very good sample of like the pool of wrestlers that really were favorites for people that were like teenagers in the early 2000s and stuff. Yeah, it's a classic example.
SmackDown in particular during this era, early 2003, mid 2003, was so rich with these kind of like. Then you have Brock and Kurt up top. You got John Cena on the rise. Like, there was so much good stuff happening on SmackDown during this. Raw had its Goldberg's there or whatever, but like SmackDown, like the work rate, the really quality
the
in-ring
main
stuff
event was Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. That alone is just a sick combination back then.
Yeah, for sure. But I agree with what you guys said about this match. A lot of Benoit and Eddie in particular, like any interactions they had in this match were particularly good, because both of those guys just have like this crazy intensity that is just like, it's a past generation. Like, they don't build guys like these anymore. It's insane. Weirdly enough, I thought Chavo actually looked really good in this match. He had like one hot tag where he was bouncing all over the place. He was hitting ranas and all sorts of offensive moves that you didn't really see that fire from him a lot. But it's WrestleMania, so I guess if there's any time to turn it on, it's this match.
That's the thing too. I kind of felt bad for Chavo, because like he was never gonna be like he's never was gonna be anything. But like, even if he ever had a chance, he always had Eddie's shadow like lingering over him. You know what I'm saying? But like, you're
he's
right.
An example of a guy that never got out of the shadow. Never. Some people can. Chavo never got out of Eddie's shadow to this day.
And I think that he should have just leaned into it more, honestly, especially after Eddie passed, which I knew, like, I know Eddie Guerrero would not have got mad if Chavo kind of exploited him a little bit.
Well, they kind of did a little bit, right? Because he feuded with Ray for a while, and I think that was the premise of it.
not necessarily like that, like, but I mean like leaning into like Eddie's my guy and I'm Eddie's guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, using that sympathy and using that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Him in my fucking video package, him a shirt with me and him on like something. Like, I would have fucking leaned hard into that shit now that he was finally gone, and use it as like, like with Cody. Like, Cody does that with Dusty. Like, he's a part of him, but at the same time he's not. But he still never lets you forget that that's who his dad is. More so like that than like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I explained it right, but
no, I hear you. Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm more of a Kerwin White guy, but that's just right. Me. So
Chavo is always gonna he's always gonna have that, man. For anybody that saw it, like the 2 weeks it was on TV, like that shit will never leave you, man.
But he's looking good in this match. Everybody is. Shelton's thrown out some sick suplexes and super kicks. Towards the end, Eddie hits a frog splash on the Shelton. Chaos everywhere. Rhino hits a gore to Charlie Haas, and then a gore to Chavo. Then he gets knocked to the outside. Or somebody pulls him onto the outside. There's brawling on the outside. And then in the ring, Chavo's dead from this gore. Yeah. And Shelton Benjamin crawls over, covers Chavo for the win. So Team Angle retains the tag team titles here. Good, just a good chicken shit heel finish to accompany what they're doing with Angle and all that stuff.
Yeah, I got a hot take. The Gore at this time was the best spear in fucking wrestling. Better than Goldberg's, Edge's, anybody. That fucking Gore, especially around this time, like, I'm sorry, like, I'd take that over anybody's spear.
Yeah, no, I think Goldberg had some good spears too, but I think Rhino had the better consistency with, because some of the Goldberg's always looked like it hurt, but it didn't always look good. You know, Rhino's always looked beautiful. And
Rhino's is very theatrical, but very brutal. Like,
yes.
Yeah, it's a perfect blend of both. Yeah,
I agree. But okay, here we go. Now we're back to the Miller Lite girls.
Yeah, man. This is what we're here to talk about.
Oh, Jesus, dude.
Takes great less feeling, bitches.
No. It's Vince McMahon. Hulk Hogan. What is this girl's accent? I couldn't make it out. Was she like Canadian or Russian or
I don't know, like
retarded or what?
Denmark, Danish or some shit. At first, I'm not gonna lie to you. At first, I like adjusted my I fucked with my volume and shit. I'm like, is that like is her voice sound off? Like I was like, what the fuck is
just stupid?
She's
or foreign, whatever.
It's all the same, isn't it all the same according to WWE? You know what I mean?
Funny faces. Look at this foreigner.
Oh man.
Well, speaking of foreigners, we got a Canadian here in this next match. We got Chris Jericho versus Shawn Michaels. So my question here, just to open up, is this Chris Jericho's peak right here?
No.
What would you say his peak is?
The 2009 or whatever when he was with the suit and Big Show and shit and all that Jericho.
Okay.
Is that the second or third match with Shawn Michaels when he punches his wife?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can get with that.
Yeah, that's peak Jericho.
Jericho is, well, he's also a guy that has known how to like
reinvent himself. Like maybe like you know, stay if you were to like power rank like 10 being like the very top of the card and 1 is dude, you're here, you're local enhancement. Like Jericho has been able just to maintain a cruise control of like a 7 or an 8 over the years through the reinvention.
Yeah.
By not being the very top of the card all the time, he has been able just to maintain that top of the card status around that like 7 or 8, and then but high enough where a new company like AEW is going to anoint him his the world championship. Like no,
short hair Jericho is the goat Jericho.
I don't know if you could really pick like which era
I'm picking
of Jericho.
It's short hair Jericho and WWE with the Jericho shit. That match with Shawn Michaels, like the intensity and shit, like Jericho hasn't been anywhere close to that. Like I'm not saying that the AEW run hasn't been dope because it has, and like you said, him reinventing himself and him still doing it 20 years later. But that I want to say it was like 2008 to like 2010 when he cut the fucking hair off. And like I said, Big Show was like his bodyguard, and they had the like Jericho tag team, and he had the talk show and shit. Like that shit was next level shit.
I think my favorite is his tag team with Kevin Owens. I think that's my favorite Jericho. Just because
the friendship.
The Festival of Friendship was such a huge payoff to a character that I and like a chemistry that I loved. It felt like just like the perfect, however long, like 10, 11 months. I guess that
was another reinvention thing because that was supposed to be some shit that lasted like a couple weeks, and they turned it in to almost a year, and it should have been the fucking main event that year. And he's very vocal about that too.
Bro, there was like a writer that watched like Chris Jericho have like a passing conversation with Kevin Owens, and they were like, "You two, fucking TV right now."
Right.
Like
that's your next year right now.
Yeah, that is it. Because their chemistry and timing was fucking flawless, dude.
Right.
Absolutely flawless.
Yeah. I mean, to me, man, like Jericho, like I think cruise control, Kyle, is the right way to put it. Because he's never been like, there's a gear that he's only exceeded a few times in his career. I would argue like Suit Jericho is one. I think that's his best character. And I think even like his matches during the time with like Ray and Shawn, like that's top level Jericho as far as I'm concerned.
Same.
But even here, man, like this match is great. I mean, we'll get into it. Jericho, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 19 stole the show, in my opinion.
Yeah.
As a character, though, here he's like a guy that's there. Like, yeah, I guess you're not doing anything. We'll put you in a match with Shawn Michaels, who also wasn't doing anything. Although they did have a pretty long build to this match, so maybe that's unfair to say. But
it's like it's the most recent story, like version of this story that's been told was MJF CM Punk.
Right.
I looked up to you and I surpassed you. You know what I mean? It's the classic. You were my hero and now I want to. Yeah, I mean it's a classic line like story.
Your idols become your rivals.
Yeah. It's it was cool. Like
or even Adam Cole and Jericho, right? Wasn't that kind of the premise of their feud? Adam Cole looked up to Jericho.
Oh, shit, I didn't even realize that. If that was it, I was probably halfway paying attention to that.
I could be
feud.
wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Storylines don't exist in AEW.
There's only like
storylines
5
don't
different
exist.
stories you tell in wrestling,
Yeah.
and they're all you kind of just switch out the people.
Well, not even that. AEW doesn't tell anything but maybe 5 stories on the entire fucking time that they.
I'll say this: AEW Jericho can eat my asshole. Nothing that he's done in AEW. He's had some okay matches. His character has been dog shit from start to finish, as far as I'm concerned. But maybe that's a different podcast in itself.
Maybe that's a different show. It's debatable. It's debatable.
Well, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
with you, I'm a big AEW hater, and yeah, I don't.
See, I like
don't-
AEW. I just don't like Chris Jericho in AEW.
I don't think
I'm
think
with
anyone,
you about 30%.
Yeah, I don't think anybody that's watched Jericho for like a meaningful amount of time thinks that this is his favorite version. This is their favorite version. I don't. Maybe the theme song though. The theme song, maybe that, but
Slaps,
Yo,
right?
When he did that at New Year's resolution with the choir, like I literally have that on my YouTube playlist. Like that plays.
I bet
I
you
listen
do.
to that at least once or twice a
Dude,
fucking week.
they-
That shit goes so
they
hard.
banned his song. They banned his song from TV, and he let they fucking handed out lyrics, and the whole audience belted it out anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh boy, the Painmaker. Gotta love him.
No. That is worse Jericho.
Yeah, right.
That is
Worse
worse Jericho.
That is the worst Jericho.
He's a
That is
wizard,
worse
I hear.
Jericho. And I feel bad because Jericho believes in it so good, man. Like,
He does. He believes in everything he does, which
Yeah,
is
man.
sometimes a little heavy-handed. But in this case, though, I think it worked because, like you guys brought up, the whole thing here is that Jericho, he always looked up to Shawn Michaels. When Jericho was coming up in the Indies and ECW, like everybody compared him to Shawn Michaels, and it was a compliment at the time. But now Jericho feels like he's surpassed him. So it's a classic story. But they told it for a while, like even before the Royal Rumble, they were kind of going at it on the mic, and then they both wanted to be number 1 in the Rumble so that they can prove that they can be like the ultimate. Because Shawn Michaels did it, so Jericho wanted to prove that he could also do it. So they like fought for the number 1 position, and then they held a whole thing where Jericho took Shawn out of the Rumble, attacked him from behind. So for months they've been building up to this match, which is great, which is something I appreciate. Match itself, I mean, there's so much we can get into. A lot of this match is Jericho kind of playing into the fact that he's like been compared to Shawn Michaels. At one point, Jericho hits the forearm and the kip up and does the pose, like all the Shawn Michaels stuff.
Yeah.
But then as he's posing, Shawn kips up behind him and then starts doing his stuff. So a lot of that in this match. I don't know, anything in particular about this match kind of catch your guys' eye?
How athletic Shawn was, even on that bad back. Like he wasn't
yeah.
Shawn Michaels, but he was still good as shit.
I mean, they called it before he even got to the ring when Shawn Michaels was making his entrance. They were like, this very well might likely steal the show. And yeah, like it absolutely did. It's a great, well put together match. You know what I mean? It's got a really heavy hand on the athleticism, but plenty of storytelling mixed in there to keep you gripped. It is like, you know, damn near a perfect match. You know, for these guys, and it was a lot of fun. I was struggling to remember, like when I was watching it, I was like, is this the feud that I missed? And I realized that's the one RN's talking about, like the
Right.
05 feud. And I wasn't.
No, I
watching
thought
wrestling
I
then.
thought that was this too until it like came
Yeah.
out. Like I was like, wait a minute, that's not what happened.
I feel like there
honestly
was a lot
forgot
more
about
heated
this.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the one that everybody goes back on, like it's not this. Like I was like, wait a minute, and then I had to like kind of go back and look at some shit because I definitely did not remember this match.
Really?
No, I really didn't.
Nope, same here. I remember everyone talking about it and how it stole the show, but the only thing that I ever really remembered was the moment, like the after the
Right.
match moment that everybody talks about. But it's just
Right.
it's a really good match, man. I don't know really much to say about it other than that.
Yeah, I mean, it just had so many different. Like, there's a lot of matches on this card that kind of feel formulaic in a sense, where it's like, okay, the heel starts, he beats him up, the babyface tries to come back, he gets shut down, yada yada yada. This one had all sorts of like they're fighting on the outside. Jericho locks in the walls on the outside on the Shawn, and then he has to like beat the count out deal, and then They get into the ring, and like I said, Jericho's kind of mocking Shawn a lot of this. A lot of top rope offense from both guys.
Yep.
At one point, Shawn is going for his elbow off the top rope, but Jericho like kicks the ref into the rope to knock him off, which I feel like it was kind of like a more rare occurrence back then than it is nowadays. And Jericho, like, they're having a great match, but Jericho's still maintaining, like, okay, I'm the heel. I need to do, like, these shitty things, like shove the ref and use the ropes and stuff like that. So it was just a really complete match. It's really all I can say about it. Towards the end, Jericho has the walls in the ring. Shawn crawls and crawls, gets to the ropes. Jericho's bitching at the ref, turns around, gets a sweet chin music, which sounded beautiful. It was the most aesthetically beautiful sounding kick. The spit flies, everything was perfect about it. But Shawn ends up winning with a roll up out of the corner after he counters like a suplex or something. Just rolls up Jericho for the win out of nowhere. So winning with a wrestling hold to complete a really good wrestling match. So all in all, from start to finish, I thought this was just really well put together. And then the aftermath, of course, Jericho offers his hand, or Shawn offers his hand. Jericho's like, nah, brother's got a hug. So they hug, and then Jericho, does he kick him in the dick or does he knee him in the dick? I forget what exactly. He kicks him
field
in the
goal,
dick.
bro. Field goal. Split the
right
uprights.
through the uprights. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, man.
Which I thought was just hilarious. Just and that's the end of it. Like that's the last thing you see after this great match. It's just Jericho being an asshole.
And the crowd lapped it up too, man. Because
yeah.
they didn't do like, because nowadays, like, a lot of the moments we've become so like have become kind of formulated, and we've seen, you know, everything's been done 1,000 times.
Right.
This was that moment where obviously you see the respect about to be shared between the guys, and only for one to turn. But instead of like just drawing it out, it just happened nice and quick, like a ripping of the Band-Aid, and the crowd still reacted in kind as well too. And so, no, it felt good. It felt different. You know, there's like a timing to modern wrestling now. Like you can kind of feel how long a segment will draw out for and stuff like that. And when you go back 20 years, the timing's not quite the same. There's something.
Nobody sells like Shawn Michaels.
And that too.
Oh, yeah.
That too.
That's why because Shawn doesn't have like this incredibly in-depth move set. Like he has like 5 moves, but the way he sells, the way his emotions, I mean, it's
like people know like Triple H is my GOAT, but the GOAT is Shawn Michaels.
Similar, yeah.
He's the GOAT's GOAT is what it is, because the GOAT's Ric Flair, but you ask who Ric Flair's GOAT is, and he says Shawn. So,
hey man. Well, speaking of GOATs, we have the GOAT of rock and roll here. We got Limp Bizkit back at it.
They got 2 performances, man.
Well, I know what you're thinking. You see,
between them and the Miller Lite Girls, Jesus.
Oh, but this show is all Limp Bizkit and Miller Lite Girls, and I'm all here for
man.
it. Very
the
2003.
brand integration, man.
But they're here to play Crack Addict.
Crack Addict. Oh, that's their number 1 hit, man. That's the Limp Bizkit song that everybody remembers 30 years later is Crack Addict.
I think at least 15 minutes of this 3.5 hour show is Crack Addict.
This was
it's just
the Limp Bizkit concert with some wrestling matches in between.
Yeah, man.
It's WrestleMania.
That
man.
actually wouldn't be that wouldn't be a bad event, man. I'd go.
It really wouldn't. I'd go to it.
I really would fucking go to that in a heartbeat. Are you kidding me?
Someone needs to adopt a Limp Bizkit song as their entrance music, like current day, so they can come back and perform their music.
Like I said, they're on tour again. It'd be a great time to do it.
Now's the time. I guess this is the point where the cat fight is, right? So okay, we got the culmination of all the Miller Lite Girls. I don't even know if we mentioned they met up with Tori Wilson and Stacy backstage earlier in the show.
That was one of the things they argued over, Hogan or McMahon.
Right, that's what it was. They also the Miller Lite Girls, they brought up Tori Wilson because she just recently posed for Playboy. I think I don't know if it's out at this point. I think it's like about to be released. I don't know if you guys ever gandered at Tori's snatch in Playboy?
Yes.
Dude, so fucking
thoughts?
Back in the day.
That tiny bleached asshole.
God damn, man.
Could eat a meal off of it, right?
I haven't in a long time, but now I have a feeling I know what I'm doing when we get off the podcast.
Bleached your asshole?
Yeah, that's totally where I was going with that shit.
Okay. Just making sure. I'm just so like they have the fucking bed set up on the stage.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Kyle. I fast forwarded this.
Nope, I watched it. We are
I
going
fast-forwarded
to.
too.
We're not gonna jog. We're not gonna jog through this. We're gonna walk very slowly through this. So there is 54,000 people in that arena.
How long did this match clock for?
Not that long. I mean, it might have been a minute, but it's a minute too long. It is just the build up. I'm just trying to imagine the Miller Lite girls. Like, what is going through their head? They're just some commercial whores. Not like commercial whores, but like whores from commercials. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then they're just walking out. There's a bed. There's over 54,000 people watching them have a stupid pillow fight. Tori comes out. Stacy makes a run in. I don't know what the rules are to this match. There's not even a referee. I guess Coach is kind of the referee.
No, Coach was like live. That's actually what made me fast forward, was hearing Coach on a live mic, like talk me through it. And I was like, nope, that took me out, Coach. Sorry, bro.
Well,
Coach
Stacey
always ended up in these segments too.
He got steamrolled. You know, the girls were tussling, they were catfighting, and then
He's like
they
the
rolled
goofy
over him.
virgin. Like that is how they treated him. Like he was
He's
the
Byron
goofy
Saxton
virgin.
of 2003.
It truly couldn't have made a more relatable statement. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's spanking involved. You know, Stacy gets rolled up into a schoolboy, gets spanked. Tanya and Tits over there on the bed, pillow fighting, and then they just stop and raise each other's hands, and that's about it. So. Just had to it's part of the show. We got to highlight. I mean, we've been building up to this. It's what everybody came to see, I think. So,
Event.
No, everybody was running to get like funnel cakes, I think. You know what I mean? Like this was just like, feel free to go get some funnel cakes. And if you look at a monitor in the hall while you're out there, this is what you're going to see for the next couple minutes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of funnel cakes, we got it's no relation to funnel cakes, but we got the World Heavyweight title match.
I was really intrigued by this segue, man.
We got something delicious and sugary up next.
There we go.
Delicious.
It's on a streak.
Triple H versus Booker T.
Yeah.
Ooh wee. So I watch a lot of old wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And some things I go back and watch that like aren't as bad as people make it out to be. Like Billy and Chuck, for example. You go back and watch that, it's not like
It's
gay.
fairly tame.
It's just like guys that are
gay.
like
It's pretty gay.
it's a little gay.
They're caught like in
No, but
ambiguous
back then-
situations.
Back
Yeah.
then, pretty gay is extremely gay.
I
Back
guess,
then.
yeah. But they're not like holding hands. They're not kissing. They're not.
No,
stalking,
the most
know?
erotic thing that you caught them doing was like stretching in the back. At like one
Right,
point they were
yeah.
stretching and they were like crotch to crotch. But
Well, if you're not going to be
about it.
crotch to crotch with your homies, are they your homies?
Let us gingerly touch our tips.
Exactly. See, RN gets it. Well, my point, some things aren't as bad, as people make it
Yeah.
out to be. But boy, howdy, the build to this match and the match itself. Well, the ending to this match, I'll say. All of that is just as bad as you remember, if not worse. I mean, look, no Triple H out here. No one like you is gonna be champion. Dance. He said he tells Booker T to dance for him. He's just a common street thug.
Bro,
Because,
listen,
I guess
everything Triple H said was
Dude, I was like, dude, RN, hey, the floor is yours, man, because I already know where you're gonna
everything
go,
he
and I
said
love
was
it.
completely correct. Booker T is fucking ass.
okay,
He's ass.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Booker T, I literally can't fucking stand Booker T. And he made this era. Right. Nigga, all you did was shuck and jive, nigga. What do you mean? That is all you did was dance. Like, I hate fucking Booker T is one of those people like cry wolf and shit about everything that makes white people not believe black people when they say fucked up shit happens. Like, bro, you were the world champion in the worst time of fucking wrestling for a company, and you were the champion when the motherfucking place burnt down. Like, bro, everything. Booker T's whole claim to fame is shucking and jiving for these white folks. And niggas want to look at Triple H like he's saying something that ain't complete. That isn't the fucking truth. Like, come on. You pretended to be a thug from Harlem. You was from Texas with your country bumpkin ass. Like, bro, this shit, I was so happy to watch this match because, like you said, like everyone makes it out to be like it was like it made him out to Triple H out to be like he was like Monsieur Candy from fucking Django or something, bro. Like, no, the nigga just said what was really going on. You shuck and jive and spin a Rooney to make white people clap for you, motherfucker. That's what you do. You dance, monkey, dance. So don't get mad when a motherfucking points it out.
Oh my god.
That is the biggest swerve I've ever heard in my life. Man.
I've been listening to this for like the last 3 years, bro. No, I knew it. I was like, when I was watching the show, I was like, dude, I cannot fucking wait for RN to talk about this.
Well, but honestly, that's what Booker T does. He spins, break dances, and makes white people, oh Lord, they pick a belly cotton. That's what he.
I'm gonna tell you this. As a white person, gosh darn it, I love Booker T's Spinaroonie. It is just the bee's knees.
Yeah, man. No, I'm right there with you. I don't, just because RN is spitting the truth, I never shy away from, I fucking love Booker T and I love Shucky Ducky. Like, that shit, I totally get it, man.
Well, as a black person,
commentary, let me tell you something,
as a black
Joseph.
person, he is a fucking embarrassment. And I've never heard a black person say Shucky Ducky quack quack ever in my entire fucking life. His whole thing is he's a black man in blackface fucking performing for white people. That's what he is.
He's a black man in blackface.
He is offensive to black people. Like, I don't give a fuck. No one can tell me anything different. Like, even how he talks on NXT, like, he be saying shit like, I'm from a all-black family from the fucking South. My grandmother was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I don't know people that talk or sound like Booker T. Fucking put on a biscuit, eat some oatmeal. Like, nigga, shut the fuck up, bro. I fucking hate Booker T so much.
Well, you're not. It's very different than Harlem. RN, you see, I think it's a different dialect.
Yeah.
So you just wouldn't know. It's a little more thing.
He's from Harlem.
I fucking love Booker T, man. Booker T is the shit.
Oh, he's great.
I fucking love him, man.
You're white. You're supposed to.
You see how he jumps high? I mean, he's crazy, right?
That's his target audience.
He's so fast.
White people.
He's so goofy. You know what I mean?
He's a character. He's literally like Dolomite or some shit. Like,
it is what it is, dude.
He is exploitation character.
Black Snow.
Yeah.
He is. I mean, honestly, he's literally like, he would thrive in those movies back in the day with titties and fucking fake karate and shit. He would
I mean, thrive. In the years that I've known you, like, you know, it never occurred to me until you pointed it out. You know what I mean? And like I was never really able to like come to that conclusion on my own. But like when you pointed it out, I was like, you know what? Like, you know, a wrestling ring is full of like what? It's like 80% white in there. If you like, you know, and that's a diverse day. Yeah. Right. So like he knows, Booker T is definitely playing to this audience that I was clearly a part of. It's just like, I think as individuals, we'd like to think that we're not like typecasted or fall into any type of stereotypes. And I think that's what made me nervous to agree with you for the longest time. You know, it was like, but then, God damn it, if you ain't right, dude, because I fucking love Booker T. I love all that shit about him, and I always did. Oh, I fucking always did.
The dancing lets your defenses down.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I totally fucking get it. That's why I'm fucking so uncomfortable watching like Swerve Scott on TV, man. Like Swerve makes me nervous as shit when I watch him on TV with like balaclavas and everything.
Yeah, I know. But then fucking Rusev talking about God's telling him to kill people. He was completely comfortable with Rusev.
Yeah, I was really
That's
cool
fine.
with Rusev.
You
Yeah,
get this dark skinned fella out here with a hood. Oh, take all my money.
Fucking hell.
Oh, well.
Look at us breaking down barriers.
The match wasn't that good, even as a match.
I
even with
would
all
go
of
as far
that
to say it was pretty
said.
bad.
Yeah,
Because-
even just as a wrestling match, it wasn't that good.
You can tell their
People
chemistry
talk about
was
the
off.
finish. People talk about the finish, and we could talk about that too. But I mean, the match, like before that, there was just no heat to this match.
No.
Because there was a period of time, like late 02, when Booker was teaming with Goldust. People loved Booker T. He was super hot. I would still say he's pretty hot here, but he's definitely, his momentum has kind of waned a little bit. And I don't think he would get another shot after this, at least until like 06 or whatever the hell.
Because even that was the same thing. Like, it was a comedy fucking act. Like,
Yeah,
you know
when he
what
was
I'm
King
saying?
Booker.
Booker.
Yeah.
Right?
King Booker is like probably his last
his
peak
career.
his last peak as like a singles competitor. Otherwise, Booker T like Goldust just works better in the odd couple tag teams when you don't have to take him so seriously. like in none of his roles. None of his
So
roles
that-
that require you. None of his roles that required you to take him seriously ever really.
Completely proving my point.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of this match is submissions, and I mean Booker is he jumps too high. I don't know what to tell you. He jumps too high. He falls over the top rope, lands on the outside, goes for like a side kick or whatever on Triple H. Triple H ducks. Then on the outside, as Triple H is distracting the ref, Ric Flair picks up Booker T and drops him knee first on the steel steps ringside, throws him back in the ring, and then we get what feels like 87 minutes of Triple H doing various leg submissions. Let me tell you about. Find yourself somebody that loves you as much as Jim Ross loves an Indian deathlock, because this dude wouldn't stop busting a nut over. But I haven't seen that variation of the Indian deathlock since Bill Dundee did it, and wherever the tits, I don't know. I mean, he just wouldn't stop joining on about this, but I mean, Triple H had it on for 5 minutes at least, but then some other, figure fours or whatever the hell, and then Booker T's trying to hit the scissors kick, but he hits it, but he can't follow up because he can't get up and pin him. But apparently, he's good enough to go up onto the top rope and hit a Harlem Hangover, the old front flip leg drop, which looked pretty sick, to be fair.
Yeah.
I forgot about that move.
Fire.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Yeah.
He only busted it out in title
fucking
matches.
Yeah, it's a really dangerous move, man. Because if you bring down your heel, that's
Yeah, you're
nights
knocking
out.
somebody. He did that.
Yeah,
to
you
somebody.
knocking
I
someone
forgot.
out, man.
He broke somebody's
be-
orbital bone. I think I can't remember who it
Yeah.
was, but he did fuck somebody
Yeah.
up with it.
I could be wrong. I think this might be the last time he did it in WWE, because I think he did it a bunch of times in WCW, but in WWE he only did it like a handful of times. And this looked stiff, so maybe that was why. Landing right on H's head, but ultimately, or he pins Triple H after that, but Flair trips his legs on the ropes to break up the pin, and then Booker goes for the scissors kick, but his leg gives out. He crumples, and Triple H hits the pedigree, but doesn't make the pin very quickly. Kind of takes his time. Like, what is it, like 27 seconds or something? I always see these
It's
memes
absurd.
of it's very,
It's the tail it just gets longer. Like Triple H hits the leg, the pedigree, then takes a victory lap around the ring before he crawls in and pins Booker T.
And it's like, I don't know, because Booker T didn't get that much offense in this match, so there's really no reason for Triple H to sell that much. So it's very bizarre, definitely.
The chemistry was just off from the beginning. Like this, everything
Yeah.
about this match was off.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like a match that without barring any serious injuries happening, just everything that you don't want happening in a match happened. Like there'd be no chemistry, a bad payoff, a bad finish, just
The crowd's not
there's
into it.
yeah, commentary was bad on it too. I always remember hearing the story was built on the racial undertones, but I would forget that the commentary's job is to sell you the story. So they're leaning into that shit, telling you about all the racist shit that has built this match up. So even hearing that while I'm watching the match is like, oh yeah, this is not an enjoyable watch from any aspect. And it's not so bad that you can even enjoy it because it's like a super bad match. It's not a fun time. In hindsight, would you keep the finish? Looking back at what Booker T's career became Triple H's career.
yeah. I don't think it really matters. Ultimately, I think the result would have been the same. I think this finish is very unnecessary. I don't think it added anything to the match. I think it would have made more sense for him to just pin him. But ultimately, I don't think it really mattered going
But
forward.
at this time,
Would
they
you-
always had to do some bullshit on the finishes. Like it was every match on this card had some weird ass fucking stupid
true.
finish. Like literally every match.
Would you change it over to a Booker T win,
No.
even to serve the story?
No, because like I said, he was a fucking comedy act.
Yeah.
Like everything leading up to this was him getting his ass beat by Austin in the fucking grocery store. The shit with Gold Dust, like he's literally Santino Marella, bro. Like he did not deserve to have a fucking title.
I mean, I don't disagree with that completely, but knowing the year that Triple H would have after this, I mean, he's just having bullshit matches with Kevin Nash, and then Goldberg shows up, and then I think that's like pretty much the rest of the year is those two guys.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Shawn Michaels here and there or whatever, but he doesn't. There's nothing good from Triple H after this. So like Booker T winning, like it couldn't be worse, is what I'm saying. I feel like even if it was
also,
like
too,
a
he
month
was-
reign.
But also, too, he was stuck on fucking Raw when all the good workers were on SmackDown. He had all the
Hey,
big guys and all the comedy guys on fucking Raw.
Raw has Chris Nowinski.
Oh man,
They could have a feud, right?
I would have given Booker the win. I'd give Booker the win. I'm.
That's
you know,
only because you feel bad about you like him shucking and jiving. Stop it.
I don't. No, see, that's the thing, Aaron, is I can agree with you, but I do not feel bad about liking Booker T. Like he's still gonna be.
No,
like,
I'm
one
not.
Of my
I'm
favorites.
not saying
Yeah.
you shouldn't feel bad. He should.
But
Feel
I feel
bad.
sympathy for his character. Yeah, I still feel like I was like, man.
I feel like just the build up and how they beat him down. I think it would have made sense for him to win
because
here.
the story really is like racism wins. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, that's still the story.
You're nothing but a common street thug. I'll prove it by beating you. All right, you're out of here. Go fight for the IC title against Christian for 5 years.
What's wrong with the truth prevailing? I mean, at that time,
Yeah,
everything Triple H said was exactly right. Racism
did
always win. Niggas was not gonna get any fucking hype or any type of world title action in the WWE. So
A fantastic segue, actually, into this next match. Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon. Let's talk about it, folks. Get
Two
that
reasons why black
goddamn
people will
undesirable out of here. Let's,
literally the two reasons why black people never got ahead in this company.
Hulk Hogan wrote Triple H's promos for him. Like, that
Right.
was, yeah. He
Yeah,
produced.
he definitely wrote those.
He produced that match, dude.
It was a little harsher
let's
than what
push
he
that
wrote.
narrative. Let's get that
Triple
out
H
there.
edited some of it. He was like, "No, Hulk, I don't know if I can say that."
No, brother. They'll love it.
The TV execs won't
No,
let
it's
us
good
use
as
that
long as
word.
you don't use the hard R. As long as you don't use the hard R. you're good.
They're not going to let us use that word, Hulk.
No, I'm telling you, brother, just don't put the R on it.
They're fine with it, I promise.
They call
Don't
each
let
other
your
that all
daughter
the
date one.
time.
Well, we got Hulk Hogan versus Vince McMahon, which is a match that happened. Absolutely. For whatever reason. So Kyle, we covered Backlash in 2002, which is the show where Hulk Hogan won the WWE title against Triple H. Less than a year later, Hogan is just in the old man league, it seems.
Yeah.
Struggling to wrestle a 60-year-old or whatever the hell he is, Vince McMahon, who's not a wrestler. It was just bizarre to watch. Like, knowing that context, just, I don't know.
This is before McMahon versus Flair at Mania, right?
So that was Royal Rumble, and that was a year before this.
That was a year before this. Okay, so
Yeah.
So I remember this was the period of time where I started looking at Hogan and Flair as like grandpas. And this match kind of signaled like this this switch in my head flipping from you're like a big wrestler who can win a world title to you're like an old man. Like you're just, because like as a teenager, I still bought into like that. Like you could be 50 and be a top of the card guy. But this match and especially the one with Flair, I was like, dude, these are just some like old geezers fucking like falling over each other.
How
the ring.
old is Hulk Hogan at this point? Does anybody know?
He's got to be 60s.
Early, you think so?
I bet you he's younger than you think.
Yeah, I was gonna say like early to mid 50s.
So he's
Yeah, you're
69
right.
today. And this was 20 years
20
ago. So he
20
was
years ago.
49.
He
Right.
wasn't.
Damn, he
50.
aged. He aged terribly.
He is.
He just started. He was fucking like by 19. He looked like an old man. So
Yeah,
the
that's
decades
true.
kind of just blend into with each other.
He's always had the horseshoe bald
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
look. He is 3 years older than AJ Styles is right now at this point, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, because the contrast of like how old like he's perceived, like his age, you wouldn't picture them that
Yeah.
close in age at all. How old is he in this match?
49.
49. It's not even fucking 50. Jesus Christ.
That's
He
insane.
looked old as fuck, dude.
Oh, he could barely move at this point, and he still has a lot of wrestling to do in his
He still
life,
has
which is
2 more decades almost.
oh man. Well, that being said, I fucking loved this match. This was awesome from start to finish. Maybe not start to finish, but the build up was fun for what it was. I mean, the Hulkamania concept, in the mid 80s, that's what kind of sparked what WWE would become to be. And the whole premise of this feud was that Vince claims that he built Hulkamania, and then Hogan's like, well, let me tell you something, brother. The Hulkamaniacs were built it on the shoulders of Hulk Hogan or whatever. Yeah. There's a lot of that. And then they,
well, while we're here, who was right?
Please. That's a great question. Who built Hulkamania?
I think.
Well, if you ask, I think it's Hulk Hogan, according to the blonde Miller Lite girl.
I mean, he pulled a Tom Brady, like the same thing that who built the Patriot dynasty? Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. Well, if you go somewhere else and do it again without the guy you did it with, to me that kind of shows who
that shows
who
it's the man.
Right.
Yeah. I like. Hey, man, that's a really good analogy. I like that, man. I like that. I'm a huge Tom Brady.
But so you're saying that Hogan went to WCW, did the same thing?
Yeah. He completely revamped their entire
I think you just put more stock in it. I mean, dude, don't get me wrong. It's not like Vince. That doesn't disregard like all the stuff that Vince helped.
Well, I'm saying that I think it was very premised on what Vince did is why he was big in WCW. In fact, when Hogan first went to WCW, he was doing the classic Hogan thing, the red and yellow, and it sucked. The crowd turned on it. So, but I mean, I don't know.
But he still turned it around and made them literally the catalyst for
right. But I think what made it so strong is that he's doing the opposite of what he did in WWE, which is still related to the WWE and Vince.
No, that's literally the point of it, though. He was doing the Vince shit, and he sucked ass, and he was getting booed. He stopped doing the Vince shit, did something different that he should have did a long time ago, and took off, and they kicked WWE's ass for 80-something weeks.
He's a classic Cody Rhodes, man. He was stuck in a shit gimmick in WWE, and he left and bet on himself in the minor leagues, and he became
Hulk Hogan is
that
Cody
is not
Rhodes,
a great analogy at all.
Yeah, man. He went and made himself a bigger star.
I think it's like the reverse of Cody Rhodes.
And then when he came back to WWE, he got the world title like immediately.
So you're saying that Cody Rhodes teaming with Hardcore Holly is the same as Hogan slamming Andre, is what you're saying?
It's up there, bro. It's up.
Yeah,
well, I would
say,
no, fuck.
I'm done with him. Cut his mic off for a few seconds.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna solve who created Hulkamania ultimately in this match. That's what we're here to solve. You solve it in the wrestling ring.
I thought we were in this match to see how much Vince could bleed in a single match.
Sweet
Vince
Jesus!
Could not wait to fucking blade.
Oh my god!
He was up at night creaming his jeans over being able to blade.
Just by practicing.
Perfect. I'm gonna fucking bleed. Give him a fucking beating.
So before I turned this match on, I remembered all the blood and the pipes and all the bullshit. I don't remember the 6 or 7 minutes of just chain wrestling in the beginning of this, which is absurd.
It's just a wrestling match, man.
Not only that, Vince is getting the better of Hulk Hogan. He's just rolling out there. This old executive asshole in jeans is just beating the shit out of the most famous wrestler of all time. Has him by the knuckles. He's just overpowering him. He's got him in a hammerlock. Oh God, it was some good shit, pal.
This was this match was a love letter to himself. Like, you're the best.
He needed to flex, man. You remember, all those moves showed off those fucking biceps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those arms that Vince is so proud of.
That's what matters. Well, the whites win. Is ultimately what matters. So if you don't believe me, the Spanish announce guy destroyed by a steel chair as Vince. Right. It's Hogan that swings the chair. Vince gets out of the way and just clocks Hugo Savinovich. Doesn't even bother checking on him. Just moves on with his life. Hugo Blades, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys have been keeping up with Dark Side of the Ring. He was in a recent one with Abdullah the Butcher. So I guess Hugo was in the deathmatch scene. I didn't know that until recently.
I had no idea.
Which makes sense because Hugo Blades here for what he's commentating. Which is just hilarious.
The Spanish announcing was only there to take a bump.
Hogan was going over that match with Vince. He's like, so when do I get to hit a minority, brother?
He was like, whoa. They're leaving. He's like, whoa, Vince.
Hold on.
Hold on 1 second. There's colored people out there I didn't get to hit. Can we add that to the match? God damn it, you're right, Hogan. Hit him.
Yes. Vince would later go on to use the N-word.
Well, he used it with an A, so It's all good.
Yeah,
right.
He took the advice from Hogan. You know what I mean?
Not only that, he called John Cena it, which is even more funny for whatever reason.
That makes it harmless.
But it's okay, actually. But he earned that right because he's throwing out leg drops off of ladders here at WrestleMania, which is just...
You beat Hulk Hogan, you get a pass to say the N-word at least once.
Is that right? I gotta go find Hulk Hogan.
It's gonna get Hogan's ass beat for the rest of his life.
So Vince hits a leg drop on Hogan through the announce table off a ladder, which is just a crazy sentence to say, but that's what happened. And then we get this classic visual. Hogan's back in the ring. Vince is, I think both these guys are busted open at this point. Vince reaches under the ring and grabs a steel pipe and does the old what's the movie with here's Johnny, he slowly
Shining.
peers over the apron. The Shining.
Oh, The Shining. Yeah.
He does the Shining deal with the bloody face. It's like, you see that gif all the, or at least I do. Gets in there, tries to pipe Hogan. Pause. Hogan hits him with a low blow. And speaking of pipes, we got old Hot Rod out here. Roddy Piper making a cameo for no reason.
He fucking hates Hogan, man.
Yeah, I guess, you know what? You're right. That is, I guess, it's still the long-term storytelling there. He doesn't like Vince, I guess. So he gets in there. Both guys are down. He's spitting on both of them. He's kind of like kicking them both.
Yeah.
He picks up the pipe and then ends up hitting Hogan with it and then leaves the ring. So I guess he's here to help Vince or to fuck Hulk, whatever the case is.
Yeah, I choose to believe fuck Hulk. Like,
Yeah.
he sees an opportunity to hit Hogan with a pipe. He's going to take it.
Yeah. Why does a pipe in wrestling always have to be this, like, cartoonishly big, like out of fucking Clue? Like, it's always, like, this big, thick... I guess it's visually pleasing, but it's always silly when I see it. I love me some big pipe.
Big, thick, visually pleasing. That's what she said.
Well, this is also coming off the era where, like, the general public doesn't have such easy access to, like, real combat sports and real, like,
Porn.
unadulterated violence and shit like that. So, to make it cartoonish is, it's big moments and I guess believable by standards.
Well, not even that. It was the only way they could get to, like, networks and shit off their ass. They couldn't go... Like, Vince knew how far to lean into certain shit and how to get away with certain stuff. Like, he was a fucking master at it. That's why he's been on TV as long as he have. Like, he knew where the line was and where he could skirt it and not, but still get what he wanted across. So, like, that was the main thing about this match. This was literally, like I said, Vince writing a love letter to himself. Like, it was fucking awesome in almost every way. Him blading himself, Hogan fucking getting beat, Piper coming out. Like, it was literally all the things he probably wanted to do in a match with Hogan for 40 fucking years, and he finally got to pull out like the break glass in case of emergency fucking playbook for the match.
That's a good way to look at it too. I never even thought about that. You got to imagine, the guy's a promoter. He does like fucking love himself, and he loves performing. You're right. He probably's had that match in his back pocket for years. Like, I'd love to have, put myself in a match with Hogan. Stupid fun, man. It's a bunch of stupid fun.
Dude, not just put himself in a match with Hogan. I mean, he's dominating from the beginning with the chain wrestling to the ladder
by
spot.
today's standards, it'd be sold as one of the main events.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, it was. I mean, and then the refs. I mean, oh my God, how many refs were in this match? Vince, he pins Hogan after the pipe shot. And it's a 2 count. And so Vince just shit cans whoever. It was Brian Hebner, I think it was. Just tosses him. And then Sylvan, who is his personal referee, who helped screw the Hogan out of a match at No Way Out. He comes out, but then another ref comes behind him, and then they tussle, and then Sylvan punches him, knocks him out. He gets in the ring. Hogan hulks up, beats up Sylvan, throws him out. Just a lot of shenanigans here at the end. But then ultimately, it's not 1 leg drop, not 2 leg drops, but 3 leg drops to beat Vince McMahon. You got to come out looking strong out of a loss, brother. And so Hogan wins barely over Vince McMahon in a street fight. So good stuff, right?
I should have just did a walker on a pole match.
Hey, there's still time. There's still time. Well, we get something a little different after that. We got Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Rock. So we touched on it a little bit here as far as like the build to this. Obviously, Rock wants to finally beat Stone Cold at WrestleMania. And you, Kyle, you said that you prefer this match over their other two? 17 and 15, I think they were.
It's not that I prefer it over the other two, is it's the one that gets remembered the most, I think. What I was trying to do is relate to what The Rock said, whereas, like, you know, it's the third act that will get remembered and talked about the most. And I was going to say, in all the ways that I consume wrestling and hear, like, talking points about wrestling, out of the three matches, I hear this one get brought up the most. Like I said, a lot of that is in part by the angle at the end of the match, but it's still brought up the most. You know what I mean? So that's what I was saying, is there was truth to what The Rock said in that promo about the three. For
acts.
Sure. Yeah.
What of their three matches do you guys prefer, like on a personal level?
This one's probably my favorite too.
Yeah.
Just because him putting on the Austin vest and shit and everything, like this is my favorite by far.
Yeah, and this is the Limp Bizkit promo package, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 17 and this one had Limp Bizkit promo packages. The famous one is 17, the My Way one.
Yeah, the My Way. That's what I thought this one was. No.
Well, I actually brought that up because they have one here too, which is like very similar, and I'm surprised this one doesn't get brought up more.
It's probably they were trying to recreate it. They knew what they had when they fucking released it. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna get this again." No, man, it's probably this one. It's nostalgic to me. Like, I remember this one more than the other two, just because I remember where I was when I watched it and everything. The Rock and Austin, like those were guys that I watched for the spectacle, more than like the technical prowess of their matches and everything. I loved the show that they always brought.
Yeah,
I think this one too was just a part. This whole 19 was just an iconic WrestleMania. So like, this one always just stuck out to me because of the card and like right at this time or whatever. Like this was like prime me time and shit. So like anything around that like 2000 to 2004 range, like I got it pretty high up, like in my personal favorites.
Yeah, I mean personally for me, you can't beat 17. Both as a WrestleMania as a whole and the Stone Cold and Rock match. That match was just built up so organically. Like Austin got injured, Rock took the ball, Austin came back, and now there's two top guys fighting for the it was a very simple story. Right, and then the match, obviously everybody remembers the finish with Vince and all that shit, but the match itself holds up. I mean, I watched it semi recently, it still holds up. I mean, it's just it was peak Attitude Era too, so everything with that and the card before it is just incredible. But this is a close second for me. Amazing match. I mean, Rock and Austin, you can't go wrong with these two. It's like the cliche, rivalry that people bring up. That people that don't even watch wrestling know about Stone Cold and The Rock. So it's like
they were rivals,
iconic to say the least. But in the build up to this, a few notes here. So Austin has brought up in like interviews and in his books that he was hospitalized before this show. I believe it was dehydration or too much caffeine or maybe a little bit of both. He like passed out in his hotel and he wasn't sure he was going to make this match, which knowing that is crazy what he did here in this match.
The anxiety he had an anxiety attack.
Right.
And they think it was attributed to because he was really hooked on energy drinks back then, which I didn't even realize energy drinks were a thing back then. I think Red Bull had just got on the scene, but
they were probably pretty sketchy at first.
Yeah, they probably were. It's kind of like the OG Four Locos.
They probably had crack in them.
Yeah,
easy. Yeah,
I've never blacked out so more drinking than with the OG Four Locos. Do you know what the deal was with those?
Yeah, it was alcohol and caffeine in the same thing, right? I just missed that.
Yeah, it's like an absurd amount of caffeine in them. Like
I bonged four Locos in one night.
Yeah, I beat a kid nearly to death once off of like 3-4 Locos. That was a tough night.
Yeah, we all have those nights.
Yeah, everybody's had that kind of night. At least
you might even fight a nigga too. Drink my beer, bitches.
Yeah.
That's what I always say.
4 Locos, yeah. I've never had a good night drunk off 4 Locos. Never.
Fuck no, dude.
But no 4 Locos here. We just got Stone Cold and The Rock. So Rock, the match is great, man. I mean, especially the finish. I love how it kind of builds with the Rock attacking the leg of Austin, chop blocks on the outside, and he's putting on the Stone Cold vest and just being a dickhead. Hollywood Rock is just
Peak.
something else, man.
Yeah,
It's fantastic. Then once he puts on the vest, it's at this point where Austin like starts making a comeback, does all the classic Austin stuff, the Luthez press, clotheslines, and a lot of finisher trading here towards the end.
Yeah.
Austin hits Rock with a rock bottom, and then Rock comes back and hits Stone Cold with a stunner.
Stone Cold's selling of that first stunner was the most garbage shit I've ever seen.
His knees,
he was
man,
already
he's
like
got bionic knees.
Rock hadn't even like dropped to his butt yet. Stone Cold was already like head first into the fucking mat. Like it was about as terrible as it gets. Selling like
Look,
motherfucker,
the Rock
you've been doing this
isn't
move for
proficient.
10 years.
It's the Rock. Rock doesn't know how to do the stunner. He's not the master of it like Mr. Steve Austin is. So, but then Rock hits him with the stunner. They get back to their feet. Rock hits some pretty intense punches. Like the intensity and the aggression's ramping up here towards the end.
Yeah.
He goes for that final, spit in the hand, then punch, misses. Stone Cold hits the stunner for a 2 count. And then it kind of starts, even the crescendo keeps building towards the end. Rock hits Austin with a low blow. Goes for the people's elbow, but Austin gets up, goes for the stunner, and then Rock counters that, hits a spine buster, throws the jacket off, hits the people's elbow, only gets a 2 count, which is only a handful of times that's ever happened, I feel like. But then it's ultimately 3 rock bottoms, and each one, like, the Rock progressively had to, work. At first, he had to really fight to get that rock bottom, and then the second one, he had to like dodge 1 strike and hit it, and then the third one, like Austin's just like dead, and he's just dead in the water. He just picks him up, hits him with a really impactful looking rock bottom. Just all of it. He knew that was the last move. He was just gonna sell it as much as he could, and that gives the Rock the win. And Rock is the moment after where him and Austin are in the middle of the ring, and Rock basically tells Austin that he appreciates everything he's done. Like he's told this in like interviews and documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
A cool moment here at the end, and gives Austin the ring. And ultimately, this is Austin's last match, unless you count the Kevin Owens deal. But yeah, this match ruled from start to finish.
I remember watching this, and it didn't even dawn on me that it was Stone Cold's last match. Like I didn't understand that. And then when I didn't, it took me ages to even realize, like, I hadn't seen him on TV. Like, oh wait, Stone Cold hasn't been wrestling in a long time, and then just like quietly quit. Like it was a guy that retired, and I never even knew that he was retired. Yep. It just wasn't on TV anymore.
Yeah, kind of the way to go out. I feel like just kind of fade off into the sunset.
Yeah. The Rock. I can't remember this match too much. Did The Rock use the camera in this one too, where he's holding up the camera and he's flipping him off?
I don't think this match he did. No.
It wasn't this one, right? Damn it. Okay. No.
I think that was their first WrestleMania match, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, because he always threw on the vest, like so. That's what always messes me up. Is that was like one of his favorite things to do in their matches? Throw.
He kept it on for a long time in this match.
He did too. He wrestled in that motherfucker for.
Well,
ages.
Hollywood Rock started. That was his thing. Was the vest and the leather pants anyway. So, like the whole run. I mean, that was what he was in.
So you're saying he's not mocking Stone Cold. He just really likes leather.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? This vest looks good on me too, man.
He mocked him in this match, but I mean, like, just remember those ones when he was coming in, like even when he was doing the like singing and shit. Like he came back with the leather vest and the fucking leather pants.
I didn't even fucking realize it. No wonder his character was so good. He was just ripping off Stone Cold, man.
He's just a leather daddy, The Rock is. That's really what his character is. We're learning here. We're learning. But yeah, awesome match. Any other thoughts on this one before we head off to the main event?
Yeah, just like Kyle said, like I didn't realize this was his last match either. So, but it was a hell of a way to fucking go out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because in Rock's promo earlier, he was like, this is going to be the last time they fight each other. And I think at the time I thought, well, Rock's going to go to Hollywood after this. Right. But I didn't think that, which is the case. They ultimately both end up leaving, within a month or two. So crazy. But that's the past. And we got the future here. We got the main event. WrestleMania 19. We got the WWE title on the line. We got the champion, Kurt Angle, defending against Brock Lesnar. What's the thing that you guys think about when you hear this match?
Dude, big fight. I mean,
the shooting star press was about breaks his fucking
shooting,
neck.
Yeah, the shooting
that's what everybody
star
thinks
press.
about when they hear about this match. But
is that moment in your eyes like, is it a WrestleMania moment or is it just like a really big botch to you guys?
Both.
I mean, both. Yeah.
You think just both? Okay, so you'd still consider a WrestleMania moment
I actually have seen him hit that in person at OVW
Yeah.
down in Louisville.
He
Like I
crushed
was
it.
at one of those shows.
Right.
I've
Kurt
seen
was
him do
way too far across the ring, man. Like,
Well,
God
see, I
damn.
think because Brock, I've seen clips of him doing it in like dark matches and stuff. I feel like he could have hit it, but you see the hesitation like at the last second. If you go back and watch it, if he didn't hesitate, he might have hit it because he was
a
pretty
lot of
close.
it, what he said too, was at that time he was so big and heavy, like he was scared no matter how he hit it. If he hit it on
Right,
Kurt
yeah.
too close, he was scared he might have fucked Kurt up just from the impact, not even like botching the move. So that's why they had him kind of far out so he could kind of do it, but still land partially on Kurt and like not bring his whole fucking 400-pound body at the time down on Kurt. At least that's how he explained. I've heard him explain it on like different fucking podcasts about it and shit or whatever.
well, I mean, dude, you think about like the damage that Billy Kidman, who the fuck was it? Billy Kidman knocked someone the fuck out with a shooting star press. That
It was bound to happen with Billy Kidman shooting star.
Yeah.
Jesus
Yeah, his was
Christ.
fucking terrible.
His was
Chaotic as hell. I forget
so
who he
crazy.
injured, but I remember that being.
I
And then they
think-
turned
I
it
think
into a
was
storyline.
Chavo.
Was it Paul London? Maybe.
Paul London. I thought it was Chavo, but
I think Paul London. They might have done it in a storyline sense because I know they
Yeah.
did that. I think he might have done it to somebody before that though, which sparked
yes.
that. But
So I could see the fear of Brock Lesnar. Like, look, if this goes wrong, I'll like kill the man under me. Essentially,
Right.
he
a
almost
lot
killed
of
himself
mess.
instead.
yeah.
I mean, look, both these guys get fucked up in this match because Kurt came into this because he hurt his neck at No Way Out the month
Yeah.
before this, and then he got some like temporary surgery. I forget what the exact thing was. It wasn't like a full-on fusion or anything. It was like some sort of bullshit. Like,
Yeah,
I'll
they
put
did like
Band-Aid on it.
they put like a chip or something or fucking in it, like to keep his neck sturdy or something like that. It was
Essentially, the joke was like that. Brock Lesnar damn near broke his neck in a match that Kurt was wrestling with a broken
with
neck.
a
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because like that in mind, like the match, like it's fine. It could have been a lot better without those injuries.
right.
But I don't know. What do you guys think of it? I guess overall, this one.
I love the vibe that these guys give off because just of how legit. Like, I was like, dude, that's two human beings that can rip 99% of the world population, like piece to piece, like fucking with their bare hands. Like, just knowing that those guys are legitimate badasses. So I love the vibe of just knowing when those two would link up. Like, just the amount of realism kind of that could get incorporated into their matches.
Yeah, and they built up to this for a while because like for
was
like
ducking him.
months.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like there were occasions where Kurt would like tease like a match with Brock Lesnar, but then he hired Heyman to be his manager, and then there was some like contract shit where it was, oh, the match is off, and then they would do all this like ducking and diving, like RN said, for months, and they actually had a title match on SmackDown a few weeks before this, but it ended up being Eric Angle was in the place of Kurt Angle, and then they did the whole switcheroo thing, and then Kurt rolled up Brock. So the build-up was fun, was pretty fun, and I think the week before this, Kurt attacks Brock with a 2x4, another cartoon weapon, hits him in the ribs with it, so Brock comes out with taped ribs, and a lot of the offense is geared towards those ribs from Kurt. A lot of grinding down submissions from Kurt, like in the first half of this.
The way he was fucking tossing 400-pound Brock Lesnar around, those fucking release German suplexes and shit, like Kurt Angle is the fucking man, yo.
Dude, I mean, yeah, like you said, he flipped Brock like 180 degrees, landed on his stomach from a German suplex. Looked pretty gnarly, and then he throws out at one point throws out the Angle Slam for a 2 count. And then Brock comes back with an F5 for a 2 count, and like these finisher kickouts weren't like as prevalent as they are nowadays. So that was pretty crazy to see at the time. Angle locks in the ankle lock at some point. Brock gets to the ropes,
I
kicks
got that.
Angle off.
Sorry, I got that in my notes.
yeah.
The transition from that ankle lock, he had him up for the F5, spent him around. Kurt landed on his feet. He did some like weird ass fucking like leg takedown move
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
on Brock to get him down. Like that shit was fucking beautiful. Like I don't know what the fuck it was, never seen it before, but that transition into the fucking. Of course, he made that beautiful ass move, and then he couldn't get his arms around his fucking foot for the ankle. It took him a little bit, but I had that in my notes. That transition, that shit was fire.
That was like one of the neat little things that Kurt did for a while was try to impress you with how he could get an ankle lock from any position. You know what I mean? Kind of like what Randy Orton does with the RKO. Kurt was doing a bit of that for a while with that ankle lock, just like he could get that from any position.
Right.
Against Benoit, man, all the back and forth those two guys had was incredible. And similar thing here with Brock. I mean, like you guys said, like they're both legit amateur wrestlers, so the chemistry is there from the jump, and then just their abilities and their ways that they can like do classic wrestling things, but with their unique spin on it, like the takedowns and the submissions. Like I would like Triple H was doing like the submissions on Booker T, but they were just boring ass, like very clunky leg locks. Whereas this, it's like really intense, like takedowns, and then I'm gonna bend you back, and then like all that stuff. So it's like even like the rest holds, quote unquote, were like intense. So
I feel like this is also a matchup that would have been great as like a legacy match years down the road had like paths not turned out the way they had. Like had these guys met 10 years later in a WWE ring, really felt like it would have even been a bigger match. It's just obviously they went down such different paths that by the time they were in the same company at the same time again, Kurt Angle was like done. Like he couldn't do anything. That was, I'm referencing when he retired to Baron Corbin. There's no way we could have got back to Angle and Lesnar. But I feel like at one point that match could have been run back, like a decade down the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
actually, they did have a New Japan match. I think it was like 2006
Intercontinental
or something.
title. Yeah,
that's true. They did, didn't they?
I've never seen it.
I want to go and
though.
watch that now. Actually,
yeah,
that's kind of the closest I'm going to get to this fantasy of mine. Hell yeah, I'm gonna watch that shit tonight.
You got Brock with a tattoo against Kurt Angle, so that's enough, right?
It was for the New Japan Intercontinental title. It was all right. It was a good match. It wasn't nothing really to fucking like lose your shit over. But they did actually wrestle like outside of WWE.
But yeah, so Angle gets kicked off of this ankle lock. He goes flying back, and you can see where he fucks his neck up. Like the way he bumps on his back and his head whiplashes back. It is just he like immediately grabs it, and the match ends like not too far after that. I feel like some audibles must have been called in this because the finish definitely was kind of a little what's the word, anticlimactic a little bit.
I think Brock went on record saying he doesn't remember anything. Like he has no memories of the match. Beyond the shooting star press, I think he said like he got a concussion from that, and I want to say if I recall this correctly, like Kurt walked him through the finish.
Yeah, no, because after Brock gets an F5, goes to the top, goes for the shooting star and misses, lands on his head, and it's very soon. I think because they both get up, and I think Brock just hits the F5 after that, unless I'm forgetting something. I think he like counters an angle slam or something, then just hits the F5.
Yeah, it's like a brief exchange into one more F5.
Yeah. So they definitely crawled to the finish here. Like you said, Kurt's with a broken neck. Brock is concussed and all banged up. But they finished it, and ultimately the match, it was probably better than it should have been knowing these injuries. But like it was their first time meeting, I believe, in a one-on-one match, and they would pretty much have a ton of matches for the rest of the year. Like pretty much every pay-per-view, it felt like these guys are facing each other in some capacity. But they had the great chemistry, like we talked about. Brock wins, new champ. They hug after to close the show. So ultimately, I thought it was a good note to end on, even though the botch aside, like Brock wins. He's their guy, and ultimately, just a fun main event. not match of the year, I would say, or anything like that. But it was just a really good WrestleMania main event in an era where we're like getting away from the Attitude Era shit with all the shenanigans, like the Vince versus Hogan stuff. This is just a good wrestling match in a main event WrestleMania, which I thought was cool.
I think the injuries kind of hampered it. I thought it did have potential to be like match of the year type stuff, and it was still a great match. But they just did too much, tried to be too different, tried to steal the show, and like kind of the quality of the match kind of paid for it.
It was definitely a gear they probably would have hit had they not been injured for sure.
Right.
Brock actually named. Oh, he didn't name him, but he said kind of playing on what RN was talking about. The hesitation in the Shooting Star Press was it wasn't his idea to do it. He went on and said that there was a producer, and he said, I won't name who it is because he holds him at fault for the moment and the match derailing. Like he holds this guy at fault, whoever the producer was of that match, because he said he had to be talked into it. He didn't want to do it to a lesser degree.
Right.
Yeah, I'd love to know that too. I'd love to know who he's talking about, just to hear who he pins that moment on. You know what I mean? I just want to attach a face to the blame.
Hey man, when that Brock biography comes out,
yeah, dude,
it's gonna be something. That's gonna be a good read.
Yeah. Brock's another guy too that it's crazy how much time, like how long he's been doing this.
Yeah,
because he hasn't aged either. But this shit was like 20 years ago.
I mean, when did he debut? 2001.
He was super young.
Yeah.
He debuted at like 22, 23.
He also had like a 4 or 5 year gap too.
Yeah. But either way, he's been in professional wrestling now for damn near 30 years, and he's still like I don't know if anyone else. I don't think he's perceived as has any he's slowed down at all. You know what I mean? His style is just different from what it was.
I'm trying to see what the age difference between these two are, because I think they're pretty similar.
Kurt's got to beat him by 5 to 10 years older.
Oh, it's actually more. Yeah, Brock's 46. Kurt is 54.
Brock is 46. Damn.
Yeah.
Dude, a 50-year-old Brock is going to be such a weird thing to perceive.
You got to think that it's just the bottom's going to fall out at some point. Because like you say, he's still going at a pretty good pace, even though he's not wrestling every night or anything. It's just probably why he's been able to maintain the longevity he has. But
but his home life is fucking more hectic and harsh than his wrestling career. This motherfucker's got a cattle farm. Have you ever seen some of those clips of him fucking literally just manhandling steers over and shit and everything like that? Like he fucking works.
I've seen some of his butcher videos, but I haven't seen his cattle.
Yeah, the butcher video is where he debuted the fucking top knot.
Yeah,
right,
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that shit. That was like the Cowboy Brock origins right there, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Love Cowboy Brock.
Well, boys, that's WrestleMania 19. Any other thoughts? I mean, where do you put this WrestleMania in terms of other WrestleManias? Is it top 5, top 3, top 10?
I feel like 5. It's hard to even for me, its worst offense is it's not WrestleMania 17. It feels like WrestleMania 17's sequel, unofficial sequel.
Well, I mean, even with that, and that's why I say it's top 5, because it had so many special things in it that we forget are special until we go back and look at it. Like we said, it's Stone Cold's last match, fucking Hogan versus Vince, fucking the racist angle with Triple H and Booker T. There's so many counterpoints to this. You know what I'm saying? It's hard not to rank it up at least 6 or 7 all time, if not top 5.
Yeah.
It's a really good Mania. Do you guys judge the new Manias as separate shows, or do you judge them both nights as just one show?
It's tough, because I would say both the last 2 Manias were fantastic. I would put the last 2 Manias top 5 personally.
But here's the thing though, is you go back to our last Mania, the first night is an all-time great. The second night is kind of just okay. You know
kind of apples and oranges, for sure.
I look at it as one show, because it is just technically one show. They just split it up because people got tired of complaining about 8 fucking hours of WrestleMania and the fact that New Japan has been doing this for years. with Wrestle
Yeah,
Kingdom. So it's like,
So you can
motherfucker, it
you
can't
still
be
lump
done.
both nights. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
both
WrestleMania.
nights.
Like I don't look at it as like two separate.
You wouldn't
pay-per-views.
say like WrestleMania 30 for like night 1 is like number 5 in your rank, and then
No.
night 2 was further down.
Oh
It's
no,
like,
yeah,
for
I
me,
will
it's-
put them together.
It's all the same because, like I said, it's one show. Like they just split it up so they're not fucking torturing us with 10 hours of fucking wrestling on a Sunday.
Right. For sure. For sure.
It's a,
Well,
it's a really good Mania, man. I'm thank you for making me have a reason to go back and watch it. It was
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
a good Mania. It's a good Mania.
no, I appreciate you guys coming on. I feel pretty smacked raw after this episode. But speaking of which, where can everybody find the Smacked Raw podcast? Watch you guys live, listen to you, and tweedle your nipples until you come.
That would
That's the Patreon, right?
Yeah, that's the Patreon.
Wrong
Patreon
smacking
tier.
it podcast.
Oh shit! I always get you guys confused. Yeah.
No,
Matt, you got
man.
10.
Dude, we shoot the Rewind, our wrestling show on Tuesdays. We do it live. You can catch it on Tuesday nights, 9:30 Eastern time. Me and RN, we're live on twitch.tv/SmackedRaw or youtube.com/SmackedRaw podcast. We're live on both platforms. Otherwise, the recordings of the show, the audio version of podcast, they're everywhere. Like name a platform, we're probably on it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. There's audio platforms I haven't even heard of that my podcast just seeps onto somehow. I don't know how that
Yeah.
works, but
I mean, if you want to reach out to me directly, I'm at the Kai Tai Show on Twitter. I'm not too really active with like posting anymore, but I still use it to link up with people and chat and shit like that.
I mean
It's more-
X.
X. Is it officially X? Is it?
I don't-
This isn't like some like parody, like 2 week, like haha, got you.
I think
It
it's gonna be
fucking-
a thing.
You think so? That's weird, man.
Who knows? What about you?
And
Did you plug
find
your
me.
shit? There you go.
You can find me on the X or whatever the fuck it is, Mr. 8984. Check out Route 4 Kennels on Instagram. If you need any dogs, Frenchies, American Bullies, toy poodles, we got you covered.
You got any cats?
Working on that. I think I'm gonna get a hairless cat for Christmas.
Oh,
Oh.
fuck no, dude! Don't do that.
A nice raw
Dude,
chicken.
not do that.
A nice ball sack to pet.
Once again, thank you to RN and Kyle from the Smacked Raw podcast. Appreciate you boys joining me on this show. Always a great time. Go check out the Smacked Raw podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as live on Twitch every week. All their info in the description. Check her out. While you're down there, check out my social medias. Go follow me if you want. If you don't want to, I don't blame you. But you know, it'd be great, and it would make me a happy boy. Yeah, I think we've done it today, everybody. Fun show. Love me some WrestleMania 19. Got a lot of stuff coming in the next coming weeks, so keep your eyes out. But I'm gonna head out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Love you all. Appreciate you all. If I could jump through this screen, or if I could jump through your earbuds or your speaker and give you a big old hug and a kiss on the cheek, I would. But we don't have that technology yet. But once they invent it, you know I'm gonna be the first one to jump through those earbuds right into your ear hole. Just went down a path that I just wanted to thank you for listening. Bye. I'm hard.
Yeah.
It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. It's the hardest. Talk around and disregard it. Strip you off the ground, show you what heart is. Standing strong and proud, nothing I guess. Let's get it started. Yeah.
Yeah, get your boots ready. We're about to go on a trip where we wrestle nobody settling.